Hello, Star Wars fans and collectors. It's me, Jedi Master 98, back again with another Star Wars live stream right here on the Jedi Master 98 YouTube channel. In today's live stream, we'll be going over the events of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, and this is Episode 15 of the Skywalker, or if you want to call it, Star Wars Conversations live stream that I have been doing for God knows how long now. In today's stream, I'm joined by two guests that have been on the channel recently on streams. That is Louis and Adam.
It's been a few years.
It has. It must have been at least a few years because I was updating my. Oh, I can hear myself in the background. I can hear myself in the background.
Oh shit!
Mute that. Sorry, it's me. It's all right. Where was I? Yes, it's been a few years. We've been doing. I think we've been doing streams. We did the first stream we did was Revenge of the Sith.
Was it?
If I remember, yeah. And then we did episode 4, and then I think we did a couple of others. And I did a couple with you, Alan, and then I did a couple with the collectors out, and then we've done a couple more. So yeah, these streams have been going for a while, but
well, yeah, I guess you've done Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clone alone.
I did Attack of the Clones on my own.
Okay.
But we did Phantom Menace together.
Right. Yeah. Right.
And yourself, me, and Louis, we did A New Hope and Revenge of the Sith, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's right.
So yeah, as the title suggests, we'll be going over the events of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Like I said, and everything, these are just Star Wars Conversations live streams that I've done on the channel. And if you're new to these as well, we'll be going in detail throughout the film on what we think of the film, strengths and weaknesses, character development, collection-wise and everything, and just the sheer love for Star Wars. So before we get into the nitty-gritty part of the live stream, I'd just like to get your opinions on The Rise of Skywalker and the sequel trilogy in general. So who would like to start?
Take the floor, Louis.
Do you want me to do it? All right.
Go for it, mate.
For The Rise of Skywalker is probably the only one of the sequel trilogies that I kind of have mixed feelings about. Like, coming out of The Force Awakens, I like that movie. Coming out of Last Jedi, surprisingly, I like that movie. But The Rise of Skywalker, I still kind of have a bit of like, it's just left something to be desired. I don't know. I still enjoy the movie and can watch it and have fun with it, enjoy it for what it is, but there's still just something left to be desired with it. And I think that's opinion I have on the whole sequel trilogy. As much as I enjoy what we've got, mainly Kylo Ren, a lot of the kind of visuals on it as well are very nice, but there's just it just feels like there's something lacking. With
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We've got to see a scene with all three of the original trilogy together. The Snoke stuff's very confusing. Palpatine's coming back in the last movie doesn't really make much sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know. As a whole, if The Rise of Skywalker is maybe a little bit more like they planned, with some of the other, like the original plan they had for it, or some of the stuff I think that was even cut from the final one, I think it probably would have left like a better taste in my mouth. But just going off of, I think like Anakin scenes cut, and there was like a couple of scenes that were just taken out that I think that could have been like beneficial to the movie. I'll go into some of it when we get to when we come to some of the scenes later on. But there are some scenes that I kind of think could be better. And could have had it more fan service in, even though not people don't like fan service. I quite enjoy stuff like that, But yeah, I generally think they're generally good movies, well-made movies. But there's The Rise of Skywalker particularly has like those kind of flaws to it that I just feel like it just has something to be desired, in my opinion. I've realised my fucking things in there all the time. But yeah,
that's fine.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine, mate. Yeah, sorry to interrupt you, Adam. A lot of people said that about The Rise of Skywalker. They left the cinema thinking, well, I enjoyed the movie, but there's just something that's not answered properly, or something missing. A lot of people have said that, and a lot of other Star Wars YouTubers and fans who I've spoken to recently have had that feeling coming out of the cinema. Good film, but I just have a few questions. Whereas The Last Jedi had a divided fan base. And then The Force Awakens was like, yeah, it's cool, but Episode 4, yeah, but people entitled to their opinions. Adam, Adam.
So I remember like when I saw The Force Awakens in theater for the first time, I was like, okay, this is I had fun. this is promising. It's kind of like A New Hope, but I guess they kind of want to do a soft reboot. That's okay. It was a fun movie experience. The first time seeing Star Wars in theaters for myself, at least. And then came The Last Jedi. I was really hyped because to me, like, I've already seen at this point 2 movies by Disney, 2 Star Wars movies by Disney. I've seen Force Awakens, then Rogue One. Rogue One was a blast for me, and I was like, okay, there's no way The Last Jedi is gonna be bad, because like, it's Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I've loved the 2 other movies that I've seen from Disney so far. Like, yeah, but then I saw The Last Jedi. I had mixed feelings, and then I ended up hating that movie. And
I still remember that live stream we done together.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And it's so bad. It's so unfortunate that movie made me question my love for the franchise, I guess. It's kind of exaggerated, the statement, but like, you know what I mean. It made me question whether or not it was a good idea for Disney to take on take on the franchise and do whatever it wants with it. And so then I really didn't, at that point I didn't even want to see the sequel. I just wanted to be over with. Like, I wasn't even going to go to pay for the movie. Like, when The Rise of Skywalker was about to come out, I nearly plotted to like take a ticket for another movie and sneak into a viewing of The Rise of Skywalker, just to not give Disney the satisfaction of my money. But that plot did not go as wanted, did not go as planned, and I ended up paying to see The Rise of Skywalker in 3D, nonetheless. And at the end of that movie, I clapped, because you guys have retconned everything The Last Jedi did, and I love you for that. You know.
What was the atmosphere? Funny enough, I'll get Lewis involved here. What was the atmosphere like in the cinema? Because obviously, as I said, there was so much divide between the fans with The Last Jedi. The Rise of Skywalker seemed to have a positive atmosphere, despite thinking, well, The Last Jedi had so many people divided.
But yeah, like Lewis said, there's still room left to, like, there's still so much left to be desired out of this the sequel trilogy, and some characters that have not been fulfilled, in my opinion, and just the story is really a big unnecessary mess.
Yeah,
that had potential, but ultimately it just did not go well, honestly. And it could have been avoided, honestly, this catastrophe.
It was all really down to, like, they didn't have like a lack of vision to begin with. I feel like with JJ they started with that, and they brought in like the different directors. They had a different director plan for each film.
Which is dumb.
They went and did, have JJ back, and I just don't know if that was the best way to do it. Like, have this, when you think about the MCU and other things that have like this story that continues over several movies, they have this grand plan that they kind of build out with.
It's all different it's all different phases and different stages how they plan it.
Yeah. And this just kind of feels like they said, "Oh yeah, let's make The Force Awakens," and then JJ left it on this kind of cliffhanger, and Rian Johnson just had to pick up what he had there, and then he did his own twist on it,
which is dumb.
Yeah, argue some parts of it are pretty good, but I agree with a lot of the stuff people say where there's
some parts are good, some parts are literally avoidable. Like you think the character for them. I mean, no disrespect to the actress who plays Rose Kelly Marine Train. Her character development in that film should have been Finn, but a lot more. That's what we should have seen of Finn. A lot more of him.
Character, and the way they do that in The Rise of Skywalker, where they just kind of say, oh yeah, Rose, yeah, you stay here. Like she says, oh, I'm going to stay on the planet. Whether it's like she doesn't go for the main adventure. Like they just kind of
I'll
leave her
just
there.
study. Yeah, I'll just study the Sith
Yeah,
ships and everything and all that lot.
Yeah, Finn was down like hands down. He was he took a lot of shit in this in this trilogy. Like there was so much potential for that character. That character should have been the main character, but
yeah,
anything that could have been explored with him, it felt like they just like, okay, here's Finn. Now let's concentrate more on those secondary characters that nobody cares about. And
yeah, just brush all our main ones under the carpet and just have characters here and there to do this. Yeah, it's just they should have been dealt better.
Yeah, Finn had so much potential, and then like in the end, he's barely explored, and then we find out that he's potentially force sensitive out of
I know,
yeah, they kind of allude to it in both of them, but then they kind of allude to it all the time in that they kind of do those things where he's like, I have to tell you something, but then they never do anything with it, and it just seems like why would you add that in if you're not gonna like do anything with that? It just seems kind of like those are too loose. It's like just a loose hanging thread that they've got in that movie that is unnecessary. I don't get why they did it.
It was like the thing with Rey, The Force Awakens. Everyone's saying, well, how did she got these false abilities? Whereas you look back at this, the trilogy that we've seen, the original trilogy, we knew the backstory of obviously Luke coming through, obviously his father's background, being a Jedi, and obviously we see Obi-Wan training. And then with Anakin Skywalker, we can see that Qui-Gon discovers that he is strong with the Force and go from it. With Rey, there's not really stuff on it. We know that she's good with a staff and everything, but that's pretty much it. But as Snoke says in the Last Jedi, a scavenger defeated you and never really held a lightsaber. So even the film is mocking it in a way, but we're getting to grips as fans thinking, oh, even though it's a film, they're kind of pointing it out, even though as an audience perspective, we're thinking, well, how's she that good with a lightsaber? Whereas Snoke was like, you are unbalanced, and what he just says there, really.
But yeah, the less we talk about The Last Jedi, the better.
Indeed. As I just said earlier on, as I said, Alan, you clapped in the cinema.
Yes.
What was the atmosphere for like you, Lewis, and everything? The atmosphere.
It was really nothing. There's nothing really going. It was just nothingy. I went to a midnight screening, and the cinema. It wasn't dead, but it wasn't like bustling as it was for any of the other midnight screenings. It was busier than Solo, but it was like not. There was not many people there. Like it was compared to the other two in the trilogy, there was no one there. And I don't really remember any. It was, there wasn't really any like a. I hear about all these stories where people say about these cinema experiences with the crowd cheering and stuff, and I've never had. I think
it's like mainly in America because American Star Wars fans are literally not all of them, but some of them are literally way over the top. Like, oh yeah, it's Han Solo, man, yeah. Calm the fuck down. It's only an actor. Calm down. But Adam, what was it like for you? You said that you clapped.
Yeah, I clapped. I was the only one who clapped, honestly, and
yeah.
There was one other moment where the part of the crowd was kind of like reacting, but like in pretty much every movie experience that I go to, the audience is pretty like silence, and not much. Like there was this one moment where when Rey and Kylo kissed finally, and one of the girls sitting like in front of me was like, yes. Something like that. Like she was all. If
I can remember that when he died, she went, "Ha!" You laughed, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. No, I mostly laughed when all the stuff with Hux went down. Like when they discovered he was the spy and when he was killed, that was hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same as the cinema I went to. There was it's obviously weren't as packed as the other films. It was still busy, but it wasn't as busy as say the first two. But it was just a normal atmosphere in the cinema. But with the Americans, as I said, they just sometimes they take it too far and
Yeah.
things
When
differently
it, when,
anyway.
when it was revealed that Hux was the spy, and like I'm watching the movie, and he says, "I'm the spy," and I'm like, okay, that was nice. Yeah.
It was just like a funny version of like when Callis revealed himself that he was the spy in Rebels, but in a
Yeah,
different way.
just to show you how silly those movies are.
Yeah.
Because because Hux started out as like this ginger Hitler, and
Yeah, his
then
speech.
and then in the Last Jedi he's pretty much make a parody at that point.
Mm.
And now they even further the parody in The Rise of Skywalker. They just took a shit on that character.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
felt that was done a bit dirty with the way they kind of they just kind of kill him like that. And it's nothing. They just kind of have that. I don't know. I think it would have been more interesting if he went with them and he had to kind of deal with his. I don't know. I think it would be kind of a fun character they could have had, who's kind of hates them all, but he's there. You know, I don't know. I think that would have been an interesting.
There was a script, the original script for one of the original scripts, I guess, for the Rise of Skywalker was, first of all, it wasn't even called the Rise of Skywalker. The Skywalker, it was called The Duel of the Fates, and the story was totally different.
Yeah,
I haven't read it.
Trevor, I think, who done it.
Yeah, I haven't read it, but from what I heard, it's pretty brilliant.
Yeah, like they said, there's a duel on Coruscant. There's stuff happening there. There's like you see them marching to the Jedi Temple. There's so many sort of art that was released after the Rise of Skywalker release, and it's just like, blimey, why did we not go there? I don't know. Did he get fired or did they let him go? I can't really remember the story when it happened with him. It was something to do with.
I imagine that there were creative differences, and that led to him either being fired or leaving him willingly.
That's fair enough.
Which is unfortunate, but yeah,
it is unfortunate to see obviously the artwork that was there.
Yeah, wasn't Hux meant to he was going to kill himself with Mace Windu's lightsaber or something like that?
I don't know if it was Mace Windu's lightsaber, but it was a purple lightsaber. Yeah,
yeah, something like that. I heard it.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I wonder where he got that from.
I was going to say about like the directors and stuff. That seems like a common trend with like every single one of the like new movies, other than The Force Awakens. I'm pretty sure every single one of those movies have had like multiple directors or like had a change of director that's been. I don't think The Last Jedi did either, but like other than the fact it was changed from J.J. Abrams, like from The Force Awakens, but every single one of those movies have kind of had troubles with the directors. Even Rogue One, like Gareth Edwards was like not the main director. They did all the reshoots with that, Solo with the, all that stuff.
Ron Howard and everything.
Something to do with Kathleen Kennedy, all that stuff. It just seems like there's a lot of like drama and like just a bad vibe going on at like Lucasfilm, where directors are getting like fired here and there. It just seems like something that's like a common trend with these movies, or just with Lucasfilm and Disney's partnership. It just it seems a bit toxic with a lot of the director stuff. I don't know.
Would you say it's down to the person at the top that's making these decisions? Or do you think it's a mixture?
I'd assume so. I think it's. I don't know. I'm not really the one to talk about all the behind the scenes stuff, because I don't know everything. I just know from what I've watched from videos and stuff. But like from what I can tell, I can imagine it is. But you never know. You never know. Like all this stuff, it's always kind of like covered up or whatever. It's just not. You don't know about this. We will know about the behind the scenes stuff, because it's not something that they kind of release. Is it? It's only ever from like stories and stuff. But yeah,
fair enough. That's fine. It's fair enough.
But yeah, in the script of the Duel of the Fates, I don't know if it was said anywhere else, but I remember it was said somewhere that Hux collected lightsabers.
Yeah,
from dead Jedi.
I never knew that. So it's kind of like what Aura Singh did. Remember that Aura Singh figure that was released, where she had like lightsabers in her sort of belt. Yeah, it was a vintage collection figure that was released ages ago.
Right on.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so that's how he got the lightsaber to kill himself in the Duel of the Fate script.
Yeah.
Never knew that. Never knew that. So that's obviously our opinions on the film and the sequel trilogy. I'm sure we'll come to that more later on in the stream. Do you want to get started with this Rise of Skywalker stream then? I'll just briefly read the script and everything. Obviously the opening crawl. Dead speak. The galaxies have heard a mysterious broadcast, a threat of revenge in the sinister voice of the late Emperor Palpatine. General Leia Organa dispatches secret agents to gather intelligence, while Rey, the last hope of the Jedi, trains for battle against the diabolical First Order. Meanwhile, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren rages in search of the Phantom Emperor, determined to destroy any threat to his power. Now we'll start off with the first scene. The first scene is on Mustafar, and we do see Kylo Ren cutting up and taking down Mustafarian guards that guard the Sith polygon on Vader's home. Now, what did we think of the start there? Did you think it was Mustafar that was there?
I didn't actually know that. I actually really like that scene. I knew that now, but I didn't know that going into it. It doesn't look like anything we've really kind of seen.
Yeah.
But I really like that opening scene because I really like Kylo Ren as a character. I think he's probably the strongest part, in my opinion, of the trilogy. And I just think any like reintroduction to him in the movies has been pretty strong, like in Last Jedi and then now this. I think the way they just introduce him in the thick of it and just showing like his fighting style stuff, I think it's just it's a cool way to start it. It's a different like a different way to what we used to, but I just think it's like a cool way to get reintroduced to him. And I just like that kind of how it started. Emperor and all that stuff. I just think is a good beginning. It's it's like a, before you meet any of the other main characters, you just kind of get that quite strong. I think it's a good opening, to be honest.
It was pretty awesome. The first time I saw it, and like it's still an awesome scene. I was kind of disappointed with the visuals on Mustafar and like how it was the forest and not the Mustafar I first saw in Revenge of the Sith, and that Vader's castle was just ruins in the middle of a forest. But mostly I mostly hate that it was something like it was the aftermath of something that happened in another media that I never saw and I was never intending to see. It's just stuff that you need to find out elsewhere than in the actual movie. There's a lot of those stuff in that movie, and I'm pretty against that. That
leads on to something I was going to mention. The Fortnite thing, with the speech. That speech in Fortnite, and that's the only way you can hear it, which I think is such a weird thing to do. Imagine if that speech was just at the end of The Last Jedi. Like, imagine that they just left off on that. And like,
what's that? Is that Hux's speech? Did you say?
No, like the Emperor's like kind of call out to the galaxy.
Yeah, but instead of that, they did a little kid who can pull a broom with the Force. God damn it!
While looking to the stars.
But I think they didn't. I don't know if they. Because I heard they knew they wanted to bring Palpatine back for a while, but they make it seem like they only decided to bring him back last minute. Honestly,
what did you think of him coming back? Did you think it was a little bit pointless, or did you think they should have just continued with Kylo's story?
There's parts of it I really like, but I just think we'll come to it when we get to the end bit, which I'll talk about. I'll talk about what I think should have happened, but I just think I like a lot of it. I like the way he looks, even as like the zombie kind of thing. I think it's a cool idea. I'm still kind of confused on the Snokes. I don't really get what's going on there. I'm sure we'll get that explained. But as Alan said, there's a lot of like stuff that's kind of in it that they kind of explained in the novel. There's kind of stuff that they assumed you should like. I said the Fortnite, the speech that was in Fortnite. That's the only way you could. It seems like such a dumb. That a lot of stuff is excluded from the actual movie, and it's kind of just like there for media, which in a way is cool, but there's a lot. I think a lot of that stuff should be in the actual movie.
And in the Rise of Skywalker novel, it said we find out that the Palpatine we saw in the Rise of Skywalker is actually a clone.
Yeah, I read that as well.
and that they've tried to make they tried to make like a lot, like Palpatine has tried to clone himself multiple times, and that actually one of those clones is was a failure, but like it was just not force sensitive, but it was like still it was the one of the, if not the only not deformed clones who actually turns out to be to be Rey's father.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
very
I didn't
strange.
know that.
Yeah, so
Okay.
so technically Palpatine is Rey's father as well as her grandfather.
Yeah, that is very weird. I
Yeah.
never thought that was what they were thinking of when I watched the movie. I just assumed like Palpatine had a mistress or something in like the, you know, during the like, during the Empire, and we never saw it. Or
Yeah, but Palpatine having a mistress is like Voldemort having sex with Bellatrix
that's true. We don't want
to have
Yeah.
the child in the cursed child.
to. I was
Yeah.
actually thinking, I've not seen that, but yeah.
Well, maybe we might get news from Palpatine that he was a very quiet man, even though he was obviously dividing the Senate with the Republic and the Separatists. He's a very quiet man on his side, so you never know. We could get that explained.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a good scene. Good scene. As you mentioned there, we did see Kylo Ren. He travels to the planet Exegol to locate the source of the signal. He lands on the planet, ignites his lightsaber, and hear the voice of the Emperor.
Mhm.
And Exegol, we find out in the film briefly, and obviously with the novel as well. Exegol is the secret home planet of the Sith. The remote, desolate world is dominated by lightning storms and vast oceans and teeming with the dark side. We also see, and obviously here, we hear Palpatine say, at last, Snoke trained you well, my boy. I made Snoke. I've been every voice, and Snoke voice mentions you have ever heard, and then we hear Vader's voice inside your head.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned earlier on, we see clones of Snoke and other mysterious characters in the background. I will say one thing: I did get a little bit of chills when I did hear Vader's voice, only for a
Yeah, I
second.
like that.
Yeah.
And obviously hearing Snoke as well.
Yeah.
What do we think of that scene with all the clones of Snoke? Do we think it was unanswered questions that needs to be answered still? Or do you think it was a bit strange and peculiar?
No, I quite enjoy
Because
it.
obviously we know
Yeah.
now that Palpatine is responsible.
I
for
thought it
Snoke.
was. I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was fine. It was definitely a spit in the face of everyone who had Snoke theories,
Yeah.
which
That was so funny.
and I
That was
fucking
so
love that.
funny.
Yeah.
It's just like when you see The Last Jedi, it's just like, yeah, Ryan Johnson's just giving the middle finger to everyone, said all your Snoke theories can literally just
Yeah.
go in the shitter, like fuck you, it's shit.
Yeah. But then again, it just feels that it just feels that they just made the story up as they went, and this entire trilogy felt a lot like watching kids playing at an imaginary game, and like every other minute they'll come up with special abilities to level their characters up, and like they just come out of the blue, out of their own imagination, pretty much. And just the scene play out as like it just improvised really as a game.
But would you say that is a good thing, or would you say it's a negative way?
It's got its charm, but and like it totally, like it makes sense that Star Wars, because Star Wars as a whole, it's like it's something that that Star Wars as a whole feels a lot at this point into like a playground with action figures, and a lot of people came to that playground and took the action figures and made up their own stories with them, and sort of made those stories fit within the universe and within the continuity and whatnot. And like some ideas were kind of not like kind of bad, some ideas were kind of good, but at the end of the day they're all part of the same like continuity, which is it's got its charm. But if it's good, I don't know if it's good. it's in between the good and bad, I'd say.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. All right, we'll move on. Palpatine also mentions that the First Order was beginning. He's mentioned he's died before, and also we hear the quote from Revenge of the Sith: "The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities that some consider to be unnatural." He also mentions a new empire will rise, and this is called the Might of the Final Order. And he states to Kylo Ren, "Kill the girl and become what your grandfather Vader could not."
Kill the girl. I want her alive.
Wait, what do you mean, killer? Make up your mind, Palpatine.
but that's where you see Palpatine, his clone, at least for the first time. So so he is a
Like
clone.
close-up of it, yeah.
Yeah, he's a clone. He's physically blind, and in the novel, at least it says that that when Palpatine died, he transferred his essence to that clone, or if he's tried to transfer his essence to like multiple clones, and it failed, and it kind of like Voldemort. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they tried to make, like, to perfect a body, but they like a clone body for him for whenever he died, but like all they came up with was like a bunch of failures, and that one also was pretty much a dying body, because like his fingers were deformed. He was physically blind.
He even lost a few fingers as well, like tops of it were gone.
Yeah, and he was pretty much immobile, strapped to that mechanism, that tripod that's made him go around the room and whatnot.
Okay. Anything else, or should we move on? Anything else?
You should have just killed him, Kylo. Just should have stabbed Palpatine in the face right then and there.
Do it. Kill him.
Yeah. Stab. And
yeah.
then,
All right, Carlo. Just kill him.
Yeah. What do you think, Lois, of that scene?
I quite enjoy the way it looks, and Palpatine. It's nice to hear like Palpatine's voice again on like on that scene. I like the lightning and all that kind of stuff. I don't mind the way he looked as well. I think he looks cool with the wide out eyes and missing fingers and stuff. I think as I said, I think it's pretty decent, like a good start. It's an exciting start to the movie. And I quite enjoy. We'll get to it later about what I think about like some of the Palpatine stuff.
We will.
That's very well done, and I enjoy the way he's introduced into it. I enjoy it.
All right. Okay. All right. We'll move on. Next up, we see Chewie playing obviously the chess game that they play with Poe and Finn, and then we are introduced to a particular part. I think it's a planet called the Senita Glacier Colony appears, and they also speak to a character named is it Bulio, and he has information about a spy that is in the First Order. And if you're not aware, did you know that Mark Hamill voiced that character?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mark Hamill voiced that character.
Win the war.
You know when they opened the top of the Falcon, and you see him talking about it's like win the war and all that lot.
Yeah.
And then after that, we see him getting chased by TIE fighters, and I did think that was cool. We never really saw that before. They were traveling through hyperspace. They were hyperspace skipping, which was something different that we've never really been shown in the Star Wars universe.
They unlocked a new ability.
Yeah, we've been shown about, say, hyperspace tracking and all that lot. We've obviously in the Clone Wars TV show, and I mentioned it, and obviously The Last Jedi and a few other Star Wars shows and everything. But that was something different. I think that's quite cool. After they've been obviously hyperspace skipping everything, we see Rey training obviously with rocks and everything, and then she speaks to Leia, and obviously she goes through a training course that obviously I believe that Leia or herself has designed to try and help her with her powers. What did you think of the Leia CGI? Did you think it was well done? Did you think it was quite cool how they introduced Leia despite Carrie Fisher's passing?
Yeah, I think it was well done. It served its purpose. pretty well. I don't have much to complain about. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much to complain about either. I remember they were saying, I think before or after the film, they were saying it was like Carrie Fisher's film, it was Leia's film, and it was a good way of obviously introducing her despite her passing back in the end of 2016, which was a shame.
Yeah, apparently they took like unused footage from The Force Awakens and kind of implemented that into the footage they had from the Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, it's I don't know how really to explain this, but yeah, they've done
that's fine.
They've done it pretty good.
I've just thought of something off the top of my head. I believe I'm right in saying that the outfit that she wears in that film, I think it's based on her father's outfit during the Clone Wars. You know that Anakin had that sort of lightish, purplish, blackish outfit that we saw in the Clone Wars, and then in Revenge of the Sith, he was like in like proper, fully on black Jedi tunic. Apparently, what I read somewhere, that outfit that Leia's appearing in, that is based on her father's look during the Clone Wars and obviously leading up to the events of Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, I think I am right in saying it. I did see it somewhere just after the Force Awakens, Rise of Skywalker was released. While Race is doing the training course, we see Kylo Ren reveals Vader's helmet and is obviously just seeking knowledge on Rey and obviously what's happening. I think we see Rey get distracted and BB-8 nearly gets flattened by a tree. I thought that's quite funny. After we've seen that, we see a message from Poe Dameron states that Palpatine has apparently returned. The final order is in place. And then once we've seen all that scene, we do see Kylo Ren get his mask fixed, and obviously it has these cool red markings on it, and it's fixed by a mysterious character. What did you think of Ren's mask? Did you think it looked more menacing with the red in it?
I really like the way I like that design for I think that's probably his best design out of the three, especially with like the cape and I just think it's a nice look for him.
Yeah.
He's kind of got that sort of Rich III look to him, like one of the sort of the British, obviously, villain they make him out to be. Obviously Richard III was obviously a king back in the days, obviously, of England and Britain. So that's what my dad tells me. Like when my dad and I and obviously my mum went to obviously watch the Star Wars films at home, he said he's just got that stature. Kylo Ren, the way he's portrayed, sort of like you think he's a villain, but does he really think he's a villain? Do you know? As I said, we know that he's twisted between light and dark, but when you look at him, he just looks like a villain, but at the same time thinking, are you one? You know what I mean? Sort of like an anti-hero in a way. But I did really like that scene when he was getting his helmet reconstructed, and apparently I read somewhere as well that is a traditional, I think is it Chinese or Japanese tradition
where they put the pots together to show the history of the
That's right. Yeah,
I don't know the exact name for it or where it's from, but
I know it's from obviously an Asian descent, so that was pretty cool. And we also do get a glimpse of the Knights of Ren, and then after that we see Kylo Ren walking into his obviously Imperial quarters to say there's a spy, and then we see him put the head on the table of Bulio, and then obviously he gets one of the Imperial officers who starts questioning him, and obviously we know what happens with Kylo's temper when someone starts to question him. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then once we've seen that, we obviously see the gang in Finn, Rey, Poe, BB-8, Chewie, and C-3PO go to the festivals of the ancestors on the forbidden planet called Kasana. And we also see Rey speaks to a local tribal member talking about her family name. Obviously, she states that she doesn't have a family. And we also see Kylo and Rey speak through the Force. And then after we've seen that, we see a mysterious figure kills a First Order trooper. Talking about that speaking through the Force, what did you think of it? Was you on board with the new Force abilities they used in the Last Jedi and the Rise of Skywalker? Did you enjoy that way of speaking through the Force?
Yeah, I think it was fun.
Yeah, same. I really enjoy that kind of. It's a cool new kind of development on that. I think it's cool. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Anything else to say? Lewis, anything?
I was trying to think of. I was going to say about Leia. I forgot to mention it while we were talking about it.
Yeah.
As like kind of respectful as what they did with, like, they did the best they could with what they really had.
Mhm.
But part of me forgets that Leia's even in it, because like
Yeah.
she's just like this unresponsive kind of, like, it's almost like when you talk to Siri. You know, like, it kind of replies, but it's kind of like something kind of, or like if you, I don't know how to describe it, like you speak to something that has like a set amount of responses or something, you know.
Yeah.
They bet they could, but like it just kind of sometimes feels like she's just kind of like standing there, like, you know, there's that whole never underestimate droids kind of stuff, which was the line from like The Force Awakens they cut, and they kind of make that, they kind of use that to make something late, they pay it off later, and it just, I don't know, it's just very odd. It seems like something they just kind of had, they used it because they had it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
fair enough.
They didn't have, that's not really a fault. They did the best they could with it, I guess, because I guess they didn't want to fully CGI her, because I thought that maybe that'd be disrespectful or whatever.
Do you would you rather they've killed her off screen before the events of the movie?
I don't know. I was thinking that was something they might have done, but I don't.
Mhm.
I think that would have been worse, because it just would have been like, oh yeah, she just died. You know, there wouldn't be any consequence to it. You know, I forget, but I also forget she dies in it as well. But like, death kind of has a, you know, we'll talk about it later, but it works. Also, can I mention Maz Kanata? She's just kind of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little fella, just doing a bit as usual. Talking of Leia's death, do you think it would have been acceptable that when obviously we see the control part of the ship in The Last Jedi get blown up and then she's obviously in space, do you think that was more acceptable of her dying there, or did you think it was best the way they handled it in The Rise of Skywalker?
No, I don't. I think that would have been a bad way for her to die personally. You know, like we got Akbar stupidly dying in that scene as well. But yeah, I think what they did was, you know,
I think it was well done in The Rise of Skywalker, but I would have rather her die in that ship on The Last Jedi, in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, fair enough. I remember when that whole situation came out to me, she's like a sort of full sensitive Mary Poppins, just flying through space.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before, we obviously just started talking about Princess Leia. We see a mysterious figure called a stormtrooper. It turns out to be Lando Calrissian, and he goes on to speak about the journey with him and Luke to the Pasana Desert with Luke, and he just obviously goes on about they were obviously on the right track to finding that particular wayfinder before things went the wrong way. Lando Calrissian, was you pleased to have seen him in The Rise of Skywalker? Or would you have liked to have seen him in other films, like to be part of the rebellion here and there? What did you think of it?
I thought it was I like the reveal. It's a nice reveal. Like I knew he was in it, but I wasn't expecting it like that. And any kind of character, I'm a big fan of character reveals and stuff. And I think that was a fun way to introduce him. He doesn't really have much to do, but he's still, I don't know, I think he's there's a presence of him in the movie, and I quite enjoy it.
He's still the old smooth charmer that we see him in Rebels and Empire and Jedi.
Wookiees stand out in a crowd.
Yeah, Wookiees stand out in the crowd. Big furry beast.
Yeah.
Anything to add on Lando?
It was a nice little moment.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Yeah.
Moving on. The next thing we see the chase on the speeder. They mentioned that obviously that First Order troopers fly now, even though obviously they are jet troopers. I did like that scene when they were chasing through that Pasana Desert. That was pretty cool. And then we see them obviously take out a few stormtroopers here and there, and then we see the gang. They eventually sink into the sandfields of the Pasana. And as we mentioned on Finn mentioned something to Rey, and obviously they fall into the underbelly of the sort of the tunnels that were in Pasana.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned earlier, it turns out that Finn, as obviously they stated that he was force sensitive. And then once they've done a few things here and there, they discover a Sith dagger. And obviously we see this sort of, I don't know, we call it sort of a sand snake or some sort of
serpent
creature, the serpent thing, whatever it's called, sort of like a fire constrictor.
Just
And
basic basilisk.
yeah, and we see Rey use the Force to heal the snake's wound. And with that Force healing, it's something as Star Wars fans that was obviously new into the movie, but we kind of know about that because I don't know if you're aware of it. If you've seen obviously various comics and various pictures of obviously Jedi healing fellow comrades and stuff. What did you think? Did you kind of know about the whole force sensitive healing process beforehand?
I mean,
Before they stated it in the film?
I first learned of it in The Mandalorian with the child.
Yeah, they put that episode. They pulled that episode forward, didn't they? A few days, so it was on. It was out the same day.
Mm-hmm.
But they put. I remember I watched it before I went to see
Mm-hmm.
Rise of Skywalker. They pulled it forward. So that was quite cool. So you saw it first in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a false ability that we have learned before in obviously Star Wars comics and obviously the expanded universe, but it's good to see it obviously on screen, and obviously it was captured in The Mandalorian as well.
Mm-hmm.
Once we see that, we see Chewie get captured, and we see Rey obviously confronting Kylo Ren's ship, and obviously he does like a backflip and cuts it in half, which is pretty cool. And then after that, we see Rey and Kylo Ren use the Force to stop the ship, and obviously we also see the potential and obviously the other side of Rey's power. We see Rey use lightning, and then obviously after that, she states that she had a vision of herself in the throne room, stating that she will obviously rule the galaxy and everything. What did you think of that scene?
That
with,
moment,
Rey's player.
that moment when we thought that Chewie was potentially dead, that was brilliant. But like, I would have killed them if they had killed Chewie. Yeah,
I kind of had a feeling he wasn't dead because obviously we've seen the trailers before, and I think if you go in here and not seeing the trailers, you think, oh well, there's a scene later where we see him in there. You know what I mean? Like there's certain scenes that haven't been shown. He is alive and everything, but it was just it was a sort of a good sort of plot twist to say Star Wars fans who haven't seen the trailers to go, oh, they've actually killed another main character, but obviously it turns out it hasn't gone down that pathway. What did we think of Rey's using lightning? Did you feel that she was obviously there's so much speculation going into the film? Is she a Skywalker? Is she a Kenobi? Is she this? Is she that? What did you think when she used lightning? Do you think that she was a Palpatine straight away, or did you think that she's just gifted with the Force and the knowledge of using various powers?
I didn't really clock that when I was watching it. I just kind of assumed like Kylo had kind of pushed her to tap into some of the like the dark side, and she just kind of used that out of rage.
yeah,
I didn't really think of that actually while I was watching it, but
yeah.
that makes
Same
sense.
here.
Yeah, I didn't do the same either. I was just like, wow, bang, explosion.
Yeah.
Once we've seen that scene, they obviously go into the ship that obviously Luke and Lando were tracking, and we see BB-8 discover a little droid called Dio, and this is another voice cameo by obviously someone in the Star Wars universe, and it was voiced by did you know by J.J. Abrams? Did you know he voiced Dio in the film?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that little droid that was in there, he voiced him. After we've seen that, they go to the planet Kumanji. Yeah, Kumanji.
Kajimi.
Kumanji. I'm thinking of the film. With
Jumanji.
Jumanji, yeah. Kajimi, sorry.
Kajimi.
We see Zariah Bliss discovers Poe, and they obviously have a confrontation here and there and everything. And we see him go to obviously the bar area and everything. And I don't know if you spotted that straight away. I mean, I spotted it obviously after the film. We do see a cameo appearance of John Williams, you know, the bar tender.
Oh, yeah.
That was obviously cleaning a couple of cups and everything. And I also learned this the other day. There's a character that we also did see before they went to the bar. Did you see that sort of character who was like bald and sort of with a robotic body and everything?
Yeah.
Apparently, what I've stated, it's kind of, is it a clone version of Dengar? Apparently, I read somewhere the other day.
Really?
No, Dengar, the bounty hunter, obviously from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
They're saying that it's sort of a remembrance or a clone body of Dengar. I mean, if you search it up later on, you'll see it. But yeah,
the guy that's got like a weird head and the robot body thing.
Yeah, do you know before they go down to the bottom part of the bar? Yeah, I read somewhere literally the other day on one of the Star Wars Instagram pages saying that he's a clone sort of Dengar's sort of uniform and everything. It's a clone version of him. So I don't know if it's him fully or something, but yeah, that's sort of an interesting Star Wars fact there. Once we've seen that, we see the appearance of Babu Frick, and obviously he's a little fellow who can obviously tap into droids' heads and obviously move a few things here and there. And we see 3PO stating that he's taking one last look at his friends. They discover the last Wayfinder is in the Endor system, where obviously the old war took place. What did you think of that scene? Because obviously there was so much speculation that say like when 3PO had them red eyes, he has 6 million. He has I think, what was the word? It's like, was it 6 million communications of kicking ass? You know, he has 6 million communications. Obviously, the languages. They did a piss take saying that he kick ass with them red lights and everything. What did you think of that? Did you think that was the end of 3PO, or did you think it was just another way of discovering on what droids possess?
I think it's one of those things where I think they could have had. They should. Part of me wouldn't have liked to see him like lose his memory, but I feel like there would have been a bit more stakes to it if he did. You know, like they kind of have like a couple. It's like another one of those fake outs they kind of have in this movie. There's a couple of like as you said with Chewie, and I think there's another one. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking of something else, but yeah, it's just kind of one of those weird. It's like a bit of a fake out, and I don't know. He kind of says, I don't know. There's ideas of stuff I've had where he says like one last look at my friends.
Yeah.
He flashed to like all of the like just like a shot of like the original trilogy cast and like maybe even like the Clone Wars cast. So I just think that would have been such a cool stuff that they'd ever even consider doing. But I've just always thought that would be such a cool, because if he's actually like looking through his memories at like his other.
We've just seen that. It's like similar.
Ones, but
it's like similar to near the end, isn't it? When we hear the Jedi voices, maybe they could have done like say brief shots of them in the films and the TV show of like say Ahsoka, Anakin, Obi-Wan, Yoda. But we will get to that later on. Yeah, that's fine. Anything to add on that, Adam?
About
3PO and his memory. Nothing else to add, or was anything else?
Hi, me Babu Frick. No,
what do you think? What did you think?
Hi, Babu Frick.
What did you think of him? I thought it was quite quirky, quite funny.
I loved Babu Frick. I think he was my favorite character of the movie, hands down.
Yeah, he's definitely underrated. He's got a bit undershadowed by Baby Yoda, like because he kind of. But I think he's definitely up there.
Yeah. He's a cool little quirky character.
Also, there's the battle droid in the background, isn't there? The B1 battle droid.
Yeah, the B1 battle droid as well. So there's elements from the Clone Wars era. And obviously, later on, as we see when they board.
Memory go black.
Go black.
Was it?
I can't remember the actual line. I watched the film this morning. I should know. My scene should be better. After we've seen that, we'll move on. We see the gang. They travel to Ren's ship. Rey uses a mind trick on the first order stormtroopers, and then after that we see Poe and Finn break Chewie out of obviously the holding cell that he's been held in, and we see Poe, Chewie, and Finn working together. And after that, we see Poe get shot. They eventually get captured, and then once that scene is done, we see Rey discover Vader's helmet in Kylo Ren's headquarters, which is obviously pretty cool to see a burnt up Vader helmet like we did see in The Force Awakens. And then if I can remember, when she touches it, we see flashbacks. I think it's Vader's helmet or the dagger that she uses. We see flashbacks to Rey's parents, which was pretty cool to see. Obviously, gives an indication on who her parents were. Yeah. And then once we see that, we see obviously we see General Hux with 3 stormtroopers ready to execute Finn, Poe, and Chewie. And then, as we stated earlier on, that General Hux states that he is the spy, and he just wants Kylo Ren to lose. What do you think of that scene? Or them scenes that we saw of them breaking Chewie out, and obviously before they got captured.
When Kylo and Rey fight?
No, when Hux reveals himself, he's the spy, and obviously they're fighting.
Oh yeah, that was hilarious.
That hallway. Yeah,
that was hilarious.
I was thinking there's like there's the scene where they're just charging through beast mode in all of the stormtroopers, and it just seems I like it, but then it also feels quite weird that there's just like it's just like they're on easy mode and they're just all like going down. Just
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just becomes hard when loads of them are thinking, like, come on, you can shoot all them.
I'm the spy.
all right. Yeah, I'm the spy. Wait,
I'm the
no,
spy.
I knew it. No, you didn't. Once we've seen that, where is it? Kylo tells Rey that she is a Palpatine. Obviously, that was the big reveal before obviously she left and everything. He mentions that you're his granddaughter. What did you think of that reveal that she was a Palpatine? Did you think, fucking hell, how's that happened? Or what did you think she was?
When did he have time to shag?
Yeah, that's the thing, is he stated in the room. When did Palpatine have like a little easy life? He probably has like a sort of a country house somewhere on Naboo where he settled down with his family.
Yeah.
What did you think of the reveal of Rey being a Palpatine?
I don't know. It's one of those ones where it doesn't really. I don't know. I don't know. It was one of those things where I was like, oh, okay. It's not really like a satisfying reveal. It also isn't like a kind of out there like reveal either. You know what I mean? It just seems like it's kind of, I don't know. It didn't really have too much of an impact on me.
Yeah, as Alan says earlier on, with certain bits of the scene, it's kind of like, say, forced on the pond, or say, well, last minute, just say, oh, she's Palpatine.
Yeah.
Do a few scribbles on the script.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good to see that she is a Palpatine, obviously, as they stated. And then once we see that happen, they eventually escape and they travel to the planet Kith there, which is obviously in the Endor system. And then we see a part of the Death Star that is obviously floating in the sea. Once they land and everything, they meet a character called Jana, and then eventually later on we see that she is a First Order soldier who, like Finn, defected from the First Order. Character development on Jana, a nice way to introduce a new character. I mean,
that's one of the first. That was like one of the secondary characters that we get development on, that I like. That character worked for me. She wasn't forced onto the screen like Rose in The Last Jedi. She was there. She was effective, but not too much as to like overshadow the main characters. Yeah, that character worked for me. Yeah, but back to Rey being a Palpatine. I like it. Then again, I don't 100% like a fan of it, but it definitely it makes sense in its own like complicated way, because like we see like in The Last Jedi that she goes straight to the dark when she feels the Force.
and also telling her to go.
Yeah, the way she's drawn to the dark, yeah, and then it also explains how she tapped the Force lightning ability back on Pisana, and then the way she reacts to it, and the way the events play out, following her discovering that she's a Palpatine. I thought it was interesting as far as character development goes. But yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Anything to add on that, Lewis? Anything to add?
No, not particularly. The one thing I will add, actually, I don't know if we mentioned it, the dagger with the point that lines up to the Death Star ruins. I think that's very. It confuses me. The fact, is the dagger really ancient, or did they build the dagger to link up exactly with this like random point that the Death Star on, or how long would that?
That was kind of like an unanswered question. Thinking, well, it doesn't really like have a purpose. Whereas the Sith hologram, it did have one where it gives you step by steps to say where to find this and where to find that.
Yeah, like how ancient is that dagger?
It was pretty random. It was pretty random the way she discovered it, like how to like find the place, like.
Yeah. You think that like Luke and Lando are like struggling, like Ray comes along. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, I got it. Hey, we'll go here, we'll go there.
How is that dagger meant to be ancient, or is it just like a new thing they made? Because like, why would it link up with the slight ruin of the Death Star that's kind of new? You know,
Yeah,
Mm.
it's
a weird.
It's just an unanswered question that if we were to go back and everything, or if they were to have, like, say, a debate with the directors, oh, should this be answered better? Should this be put in, or should that?
You could also just say, "Oh yeah, the Force made it like in that position."
did any of you get to see like maybe the visual dictionary of the Rise of Skywalker and maybe see what that dagger was all about? And like,
I haven't got round to buying the visual dictionary.
No,
I will get
I've looked
round
through
to buying it.
but I've not like got it.
okay.
Do you know any facts about it, Adam, or was you just asking the question?
I was asking to see if any of you know, because I don't know. So, but like but yeah, and I'm probably gonna Google it real quick.
Yeah, true. If you went on Wikipedia, I'm sure there's an article on it. Actually, to be fair.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Before we move on, I'm just going to check a couple of comments that have appeared on the screen. I'll just double check. There's a few friends of mine who are in the chat as well. They state that my friend George says, hello, Star Wars fans and collectors. Obviously, mimicking me. My friend Harry, obviously George's brothers, he said he's just started watching the Clone Wars. Excellent, Harry. Keep it going. I kind of got my friend Harry there in the Star Wars mayhem. He's watched all the Star Wars, getting in the process of watching all the Star Wars films again, and then going into watching the Clone Wars and possibly Rebels and everything. So got Star Wars hyped up at the minute. Jose Del Bosque states, what do you think will happen at episode 12 on season 7 of Clone Wars? Alan has mentioned Order 66. Fair enough. If you've seen Revengers, you can kind of know what will happen. But then again, they could do another thing. They could do shots. So we see, I don't know, I was just thinking about it off the top of my head now. We could see a shot of maybe, say, Yoda training Obi-Wan on obviously how to find Qui-Gon, or we see Obi-Wan actually sitting in his sort of house or home where he is thinking, right, I am looking after Luke now. Who knows? We'll wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
We'll wait and see what happens. Anything else on that Sith?
Yeah, so I'm just looking up the Sith dagger. Let's see. Yeah, no, it's just in the visual dictionary it just says like what it's made of. It doesn't it doesn't really say where and when it was made and why. But people on Reddit say that most likely the Sith cult members made that dagger. They mention, we know that it is engraved to specifically reference Palpatine himself and his presence on Exegol. And then they also say that we know that the profile of the blade matches the rubble of the Death Star on Kef Bir, an ocean moon of Endor, as opposed to the forest moon of Endor inhabited by Ewoks. So which means even if the dagger itself predated the end of episode 6, it was heavily modified at that time. And they also say, we know that the only purpose of this dagger was to point to a Sith wayfinder so as to find Exegol. Okay.
Obviously, that wayfinder pointed to obviously where part of that Death Star was, in obviously the Palpatine sort of headquarters, or little bit where he was sitting in the throne room, really. Where obviously we see Rey discover that shortly.
Yeah, presumably Palpatine wouldn't talk about himself in the third person. They suspect it was made. Yeah, they suspect it was made by an underling to be sent as a way of securely communicating with Oki, like the dude, the assassin that killed Rey's parents. Yeah, no mention of when it might have been made, as far as I can see. Yeah, no.
Yeah, true. I didn't actually think about that. It probably isn't as ancient as I just imagined it would be. It's probably just something they made,
Yeah.
after. So yeah, it does make sense. It's just one of those things I thought was a bit weird.
Yeah, so
Like,
I think I don't think at this point, like I don't think it's ancient. It
Yeah.
might it is at most like it's decades old, but not
yeah,
ancient.
Yeah, it's probably made within time when the Rise of Skywalker is set.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. All right. Moving on. Eventually, we do see Rey climbing, obviously part of the old Death Star. We see old Tie fighters, Imperial shuttles, and Stormtrooper helmets and Stormtrooper armor on the floor. We eventually see Palpatine's throne, where obviously, as we know, Star Wars fans, where Luke and Vader fought as part of one of the final battles in Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. We also see Rey go through this door, and we see a dark side version of her with a dual-bladed red lightsaber. What did you think of the dark side of Rey? Because obviously there's so much speculation as well when that trailer was released that she's going to go to the dark side.
yeah.
Do you think that was quite cool to see a version of her?
It was cool, but I would have preferred if it weren't like a vision and rather a potential a potential future, like maybe like she has actually like someone somewhere in the plot turned to the dark side. That would have been cool to see.
Mm.
But yeah, it was pretty much like wishful thinking to have her turn to the dark side and then maybe redeem herself in the same movie, all in one movie. And yeah, it would have been like way too messy.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Anything to add on that, Lewis? Anything to add?
What about
The dark side version of
dark
Rey.
side? No, I don't really have any opinions really about it. I don't know. It's one of those things they kind of showed prior to the movie coming out. It was kind of obviously done to generate like a bit of speculation and kind of
Speculation, yeah.
yeah, and it's fine. It's one of those things. It's just kind of it's fine. I think if they didn't add it in the trailers, it would have still had the same impact. It's just like one of those things that you kind of you from watching the trailers, you could kind of you would imagine it would have been a vision or some sort of
just a bit of filler to fill different parts of the film and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it doesn't make sense. It does make sense that she would see herself in the dark side as like a vision of what she fears most.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that one place in Dagobah when Luke went and like imagined himself fighting Vader, cutting his head off, and seeing his own face underneath the helmet. Yeah, it was the equivalent of that.
Maybe they're just obviously reminiscing, going back to the original trilogy and just showing aspects of all the different trilogies of Star Wars put into one film. After that, we see Kylo Ren appear, and we see Rey and Kylo fight in the Death Star briefly, and obviously outside of the Death Star, part of the ship. Let's say like that was obviously crash landed in the ocean and everything. The duel between Rey and Kylo, did you not like it? Did you think it was cool? Or did you think it would have been better, say, maybe music in the background? Because I think I sent it to you before, Alan, like edits where they had it, like music from Revenge of the Sith and added it there. What did you think of it?
I think it was good the way it is. Sure, it might have been better with music, but I would rather if they were to add music, I would rather they make its own unique score than add a score that was already used in another movie.
Yeah, fair enough.
What do you think, Lois?
I think it's a pretty decent fight. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it gets like I've seen a couple of clips where people have like shown parts of it, like some of the slower parts, when because they get tired towards the end. That's the thing they kind of do in those new movies, where they kind of make them look more realistic in the way that they're not like these acrobatic set pieces like they would be in like the prequels. They kind of I've seen people kind of like I saw this video that was kind of, I think it might have been TikTok or something, where it showed like scenes from like the old Republic, you know, like the cinematic trailers and stuff.
Yeah.
They showed like a really out of context slow fight with like that from that scene. I just think that was a bit unfair. Kind of showing that scene out of context when as a fight it's pretty decent. I like the bit where I don't know if she kicks Kylo down the thing or he just jumps down the thing and she follows him. I think that's quite cool. And the way
she just follows him.
Yeah, they kind of follow. They kind of is similar to kind of like some of the old prequel fights where they move around.
Yeah.
And stuff like
like Revenge of the Sith and
she
Duel of
jumped,
Fates in the Phantom Menace.
she jumped across and he followed her.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, I quite enjoy the whole water aspect. I think maybe it would be cooler with some music. I think I don't know if you've obviously even seen some of the posters and stuff where they've kind of got that scene, but it's kind of more like there's more visuals to it, like a lot of like blue lights and stuff in the background. I think it would have been cooler because I think we did mention a bit the fight on Kojimi where they're fighting, you know, in between the two like different, like the Kylo's like quarters and then the street, like the
sort of the market area.
Yeah, I think that visually is a lot nicer of a fight because you have the darks and the light of the two different areas kind of clashing, and you've got the berries and stuff comes in with the red of Kylo. I think it's like visually that looks really nice. Whereas this one doesn't have that kind of like kind of visually impact. Like it has the water and stuff coming up. I don't think it looks as impactful as some of those other battles, especially like the throne room scene or the fight on Starkiller Base. I think they have a lot more visually kind of interesting stuff going along to this, and it's just kind of like them, especially maybe to do with the music as well. There isn't like music; it kind of just feels like they're, you know, fighting on this like what is it, like the ruins of the Death Star with the water and stuff coming up. I think if there could have been other stuff to make it look a little bit more visually like interesting. I don't know. That's just kind of something. But the fight itself is pretty decent. There's nothing.
Yeah, I like the fight as well, and it's good to see as well that we know obviously what Leia's been through. Obviously, she's lost her husband in Han Solo in The Force Awakens. Obviously, she nearly died herself in The Last Jedi, and there's obviously aspects happening there. But it was good to see sort of, I don't know, you could kind of say that Leia was calling Ben Solo, like trying to redeem him as best as she can. She's trying to use everything in her power and everything in her strength to say, right, I know my son is gone, but let's just try one more time to see if he is still there. Is there light still in him? I thought that was quite cool. Did you like the aspects where we just see a shot of them turning? Obviously, we see Leia trying to get into her son.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, I think it was a good way to kind of, you know, like they redeem him slowly in like that kind of scene. And by the time, you know, we haven't got to but where Rey, you know, kind of stabs him, he's like kind of, he gives up. You know?
He kind of gives up and shocked to think, well, I've given up, but you still struck me. But then again, as we see later on in that scene, she said, I did want to take your hand, but not as Kylo Ren's, but as Ben. So, as we mentioned, obviously we see that obviously Leia calls to obviously Ben Solo. Ben sort of drops his lightsaber down, drops it. Rey grabs it and eventually obviously stabs him in the stomach. And then we discover obviously that Leia has obviously used all her will and strength to try and obviously redeem her son. And then eventually later on we see that Rey obviously and Kylo have obviously sensed what's happened to Leia. And then eventually we come to the conclusion that Leia has died from obviously a similar thing to obviously what Luke done in The Last Jedi, sort of sacrificing herself for the rebellion to trying to redeem her son one last time and everything. And another thing, I don't know if you know this, but I did see a picture of this on Instagram the other day, that R2-D2, he was there for Leia's birth and death. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was there for Leia's death and birth. So it was a fitting end to obviously Carrie Fisher's legacy in the Star Wars universe, and I thought it was a fitting way to end Princess Leia's story in the Rise of Skywalker. Because obviously so many people have so many good memories with Carrie Fisher's portrayal of Princess Leia in the Star Wars trilogy.
Yeah.
And then once we've seen that, we see obviously Ray heal obviously Ben and takes away obviously the mark and obviously the stab wound that she has caused him. And did you also notice as well, guys, that she also heals his scar on the side of his face as well, which was a different thing to see
Yeah, I
in
hadn't
the
hadn't
Star Wars
noticed
universe.
that. I hadn't noticed that.
I only noticed that after rewatching the film or seeing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Oh, no.
only noticed that when people mentioned it to me.
I mean, what did we think of that scene? Did we kind of think that Kylo, obviously his name Ben Solo now, did we think that Ben was redeem himself and do good for his family? What do we think of that?
Yeah, I saw it coming.
Do you have any thoughts on that? Of obviously Ben Solo's redemption? Did you think they handled it well? No, as you said, you just kind of saw it coming.
I think it was pretty well executed. Liked it. What about you, Louis?
Yeah, I like it. I like everything they do with Kylo in this movie, and then Ben later on. Like we'll talk about it when we get to it. But all the Ben stuff is really great. Like all that stuff's great. I've also thought something while we were talking about it. How we were saying about Leia dying. I kind of like that's also talking about how they couldn't do anything about it. But I feel like this was meant to be Leia's movie. The last movie was
Yeah.
and then before was Hans. They all had their scenes with. They were like the main member of the Trinity, and they all die obviously because in their respective movie. But it's a shame that we didn't get to see this be Leia's movie. She has like quite a decent arcs in both the other throughout those two movies, but it would be nice to see her kind of take more like the central role as she's like, other than Lando, and Chewie, she's like the main legacy character that's still kind of with us. And it would be nice to see her like take that main role in that movie, which we never got to see that. But yeah, for what we got, it's pretty decent. I like it a lot.
And I thought, as I said earlier, and I thought it was a fitting end to obviously Carrie Fisher's legacy in obviously the Star Wars universe. Because obviously we know that she died. I think if I remember, was it middle of production of the Last Jedi that she died? Was it during the middle? Or was it towards the end that she died?
I don't know. I think I feel like they might have just been towards the end, but they might have wrapped. I don't know. I know it. She died around when Rogue One was coming out. After that, it was after.
I think
it was just after Boxing Day, if I remember.
I think by the time she died, she had already finished shooting all her scenes in the Last Jedi.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right. But as we said, a fitting end to Princess Leia, obviously Carrie Fisher's role in the Star Wars universe. We eventually see, obviously, as I mentioned, that Rey says she wanted to take his hand, but obviously as Ben Solo's hand instead of Kylo Ren. We see Rey escape in Ben's ship, and after that we see Finn, Poe, and Chewie discover obviously that Leia is dead. And then once we've seen that, we see a very nice scene. I think it's got to be one of my favourite scenes from the film. We see Ben obviously on the ledge of the Death Star, part of the platform, and we hear "Hey kid," and obviously we see a memory of Han Solo. So we see Harrison Ford has come back obviously to portray Han Solo again. And Kylo Ren states that obviously Kylo Ren is dead, my son is alive, Ben Solo. And then once we see that, we see Ben throw his lightsaber into the sea, and we see Han Solo disappear. What do you think of that scene? As I say, I think that's one of my favourite scenes from the film. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah,
it was unexpected. It was unexpected.
Yeah. I did not expect that at all. I do
Me
love
neither.
it. I didn't think Harrison Ford would ever come back for anything like that at all, especially like a tiny scene like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. Han Solo is my favorite character in like anything. Like I love Han Solo.
He's one of my favorites as well.
Yeah, it's just nice to see him back, especially for the last film, back on the screen. Even though they're not together in the film. That all the main characters are in that film.
Yeah.
Nice,
And I think I remember reading somewhere that Harrison Ford did enjoy, obviously, doing scenes with Adam Driver as well as sedated. I think I remember saying it's one of the favourite scenes he has shot in Star Wars. Obviously, the confrontation with his son on Starkiller Base and the events of the Force Awakens. Anything to add on that, Adam?
I thought it was brilliant. It was a great way, great execution of Ben Solo's redemption.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll move on. Once we've seen that scene, we see Palpatine contact General Pride, obviously a former officer that served him through the Galactic Civil War, and then we see that the First Order fires on Kijimi with obviously a new planet killing weapons that we did see in The Last Jedi, but obviously only briefly. And then obviously we see Poe Dameron is obviously speaking to Leia, so thinking obviously he needs guidance and everything. And we see Lando appears and he states that we are each other to defeat the Empire, me, Luke, Leia, Han. And we also see that Poe makes Finn an acting general. Obviously, once Princess Leia died in the film, he was made the acting general in the film.
I just want to mention that Chewie's reaction to the news about Leia dying was just brilliant. Like I wanted to cry when I saw him react.
And similar to his reaction, obviously, in The Force Awakens as well.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, sorry, I've got to mention. I forgot to write that down.
Yeah, it was rather touching.
As I stated, we see Poe. Obviously, he's made acting general. He makes Finn. He's a general as well. And then once we've seen that, we see Rey fly to Actu, which is obviously the planet where Luke was in exile at the end of The Force Awakens and obviously through The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And we see Rey obviously started flying on Kylo Ren's ship. And so obviously she's chucking all words and all different materials into the fire. And obviously we see her take the Skywalker saber. And obviously is frustrated and drawn between two lines, like, do I really need this saber? Obviously she goes to throw it into the fire, and then we just see a hand come out, and it appears to be obviously Luke Skywalker. Obviously Luke Skywalker has obviously come back as a Force ghost, and he's obviously saying that I can't remember the scene. Was it saying about the this weapon is your life, similar to the scene in the?
He said that a Jedi's weapon deserves more respect, and that was when I was like, that's Luke Skywalker. Thank you.
That is Luke Skywalker, as you see in the last show, he's just like,
yeah,
just chucks it away. Yeah. So it was good to see, obviously, Luke again. Obviously, as a Force ghost, he states that obviously confronting fear is the destiny of the Jedi. And the one thing I did enjoy as well from that scene is we see flashbacks of Princess Leia and Luke training. I think they're training on the current planet where the rebel base is, and he states that obviously 1,000 generations living you now, and then eventually we see Luke show Rey to Princess Leia's lightsaber, saying that Leia hasn't really, obviously she's completed her training, but she wants her saber to be passed on to someone new. And that was a cool scene. What do we think of the little flashback scene? Because I remember you obviously mentioned earlier on, Lewis, that you would like to have seen a flashback scene of 3PO. Did you like the flashback scene of obviously Luke and Leia when they were young?
Yeah,
I
do like that. I like it when they do stuff like that. They take you back to kind of a that. I think the CGI on Luke looks very good. Leia, not so much. It's not bad. It kind of reminds me of like the Battlefront 2.
Yeah, exactly.
They were saying that when they did that scene, obviously her daughter was in the film. She played as a young.
Oh, you do the. Okay,
that scene where you see him training. Her daughter was playing it.
I think that was good.
Yeah, I thought that it was way too obvious that it was computer generated and looked way too much like a video game, but it served its purpose. Yeah.
yeah, it just filled in the blanks and just continuing flowing with the story and everything. Yeah, that was cool. As I stated, Orni's obviously said confronting through is the destiny of Jedi, 1,000 generations living you now. And the one thing that we did see where obviously Luke was struggling to use the Force in The Empire Strikes Back, we just somehow see Luke use the Force again to get his X-Wing out of the water. And as I stated, it is an Empire Strikes Back memory, and we also hear a brief part of the music from The Empire Strikes Back. Thoughts on that scene? Because obviously we see in The Empire Strikes Back, he was like, "Oh, I can't do it," and then we just see him casually using one hand. Yeah, I'll just move the X-Wing there. What did we think of that?
Yeah, that was awesome. That the way it mirrored the scene of Yoda lifting the X-Wing from the waters of Dagobah. I just love that callback, and it's like poetry. They sort of rhyme.
You just see smug grin on his face as well. He's like just using the Force with one hand. He's like, yeah.
That was an epic moment. Yeah, and yeah,
I think it's nice as well when we hear like the original trilogy and
they use the same music
and they use the music, which is good because it just brings back memories. As I said, we're beloved Star Wars fans. It's just nice to bring.
Yeah, I love that moment. I love that
moment.
Lewis,
did you like it?
Yeah, no, it's good. It's a nice like bit of like
little wink.
And like a way they kind of finish Luke's. Like something he never did in the original trilogy. They kind of like, bring it full circle.
They went back and done it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, they brought it full circle.
Redeeming.
Yeah. Before we move on to the next scene, I'm just going to quickly pop to the toilet. If you want to talk amongst yourself or check the comments to see if there's anything happening, I won't be a few minutes. I'm going to move on to the next scene.
Right on.
I'll get it. I can't see the comments on there. Can you?
Yeah. There hasn't been any new comment. Since the last time you checked, but yeah, if you guys have any questions, have any comments about the Rise of Skywalker or any other Star Wars related media, there was a new episode of the Clone Wars yesterday, and I thought that was epic, one of the best episodes. Yeah. I see that there's one dislike on the stream. That's not very great, but I guess yes, some people are just not satisfied. I guess. I mean, 1 out of 3. So I don't know what we're doing wrong, but yeah.
But yeah, what did you? Jack's back now.
Yeah. We'll talk about it later.
Right, back again. Anything in the chat? Anything going there? Or?
Nothing new in the chat. There's one dislike though.
Traitor.
Yeah.
Don't bother me with the dislike.
Traitor. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll carry on as usual.
Yeah.
Right. Got my notes here. We see obviously the memory from the Empire Strikes Back and everything. We see Poe Dameron state with obviously Finn. They obviously give a speech saying that good people will fight if we lead them, and obviously they're just getting ready for the fights against the Final Order, and they're willing to win at all cost. We see Rey land on Exegol, and as I said, we see the rebels eventually engage the Final Order, which is obviously Palpatine's fleet, and obviously beforehand we see that Rey is using obviously Luke's X-Wing and giving a guideline for the rebels to make their way to the planet Exegol.
Mm-hmm.
Once we see that, we see the rebels land on the command ship, and we see them engaging with the Sith troopers. Now, we didn't see a lot of major marketing to the Sith troopers. But I will say one thing: I do like the Sith troopers. I've recently got another Sith trooper from the Vince sketches.
I love the fine.
I'm being honest. I prefer them to the normal stormtroopers that were
Yeah,
used in the film.
They're
really slick.
It's a shame that we haven't seen much of them in the movie, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really
we
get
didn't
a
see
clean
much of
shot.
them. We only saw a few shots. We maybe saw
Yeah.
some of them when they were landing on the ship and their first order transports and engaging. We saw, like, say, a few Sith jet troopers in them, but we didn't really see them.
Really don't get a clean shot you get a good shot of the jet trooper. There really isn't like a good standout scene of the Sith troopers doing. No, the Death Troopers in Rogue One, I feel like you get a lot more of, but it's kind of similar to that where they are very heavily marketed. But you just don't get like a solid scene with them. When they market them originally as like elite stormtroopers as terms like what Death Troopers are, but they are just like the standard troopers.
Infantrymen,
I saw it coming that these troopers will be the new Porgs of that movie.
But they look really cool. If I'm being honest, I would prefer them as the colour throughout the three films.
Yeah, they are. They're very cool.
Because the first order stormtrooper with like the extra ammo pouches and stuff, they look cool as well. I mean, I did like the jet troopers they introduced in the film as well when they were chasing them earlier on.
Yeah,
but they are, like I said, we didn't see a full clear shot of them, but I did like the overall aspect and design. I mean, obviously, do you have both versions, Lewis? Do you have the vintage collection and the Black Series version?
I do, yes. I've got the vintage one, and I've got the two Black Series ones. I've got the
chrome versions.
I've got. Hang on, I'll get them.
So I am a fan of them. As I said in my other reviews, I would like to just army build them. I know I've got a few first stormtroopers there, but I would like to
carbonized ones, metallic.
Yeah, the carbonized.
Plus, I've got the jet trooper as well. But they're nice figures. They're actually quite figures. We're going to talk about the merchandise towards the end, aren't we?
We will. Yeah, we'll talk about the merchandise and all the usual stuff. As I said, they obviously engaged the Sith troopers. We see Rey sees the throne of Palpatine, and he states that long he has waited. He also states that all the Sith live in Palpatine, and obviously we see Palpatine's followers in hoods bow down to him. Because when I first saw that scene in the Rise of Skywalker, it kind of reminded me of remember the scene in Attack of the Clones where we see all the Geonosians and everything. When we see like all these cloaked figures of Palpatine, I'm thinking, are they obviously they are followers, but would they be force sensitive, or would they just say like they're just followers of him that just admire his work and what he does for the galaxy?
We don't know.
There's another. As we talk about the Sith troopers. There's those other troopers that are like the Royal Guards to the Emperor that are down. Yes. You never see a clean shot of those.
No.
From what I've like the minuscule screenshot I've seen, they're really cool designs. They're kind of like a mixture between the Royal Guard and the Sith trooper, but you never really see anything about them either. There's another kind of. Then again, you don't in the original trilogy. There's a lot of you never really see a clean shot of the Royal Guards anyway, so it's similar to that.
You see more clear shots of the Royal Guards in the original trilogy than
those
ones in the Rise of Skywalker. Yeah.
So yeah, that was something.
But the chanting was awesome. Like it was very spooky.
Just visually as well, it's nice. As I said, the lighting and all the darkness and everything. It's just such a good.
Especially when I went to see it in the theater. When I went to see it in the theater and I heard the chanting from the Sith cultists, that was awesome. Really, it set the mood of the scene. Like it was again, it felt like a thriller, like a horror movie almost. Very spooky.
And it's best as well when obviously it's all the lighting is different in the cinema, the sound system and everything's great. Obviously the vibration, it just thinks like this is quite spooky, this is creepy. But it was a cool scene. I did like it. Once we see obviously Palpatine's followers, we see Ben Solo arrive in an old TIE fighter from the Galactic Civil War. He states that Palpatine states that he wants to strike. Palpatine states that he wants Rey to strike him down and become obviously the new Empress of the galaxy, and states that if you strike me down, part of me will obviously live in you.
That was the dumbest thing he ever said.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
should not have said that. He should have let her, because she was going to strike him down anyway. He should have just let it like play out, let her kill him, not say anything, and then like have his plan, have everything go his plan,
Have
because
his plan mastered,
because now
yeah.
she knows that that's what he wants, and that's how he wins.
Yeah, it's kind of like the way he manipulated Anakin in obviously Revenge of the Sith, where we see the scene in the shot of his office. It's like, you're the Sith Lord, you can save Padme, do this, do that. He's just kind of trying to manipulate her, but he didn't do his job well. Obviously, manipulating Anakin, but with Rey, it's just like, well, I should just, as fans, we're like, you should just keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut, you'll win over her and everything. Where are we? As I stated, that you mentioned that he wants Rey to strike him down, and we see Ben obviously going to confront Palpatine and Rey, and all of a sudden we see the Knights of Ren
He gets there.
appear.
Ben Solo gets
before I move on to the next scene.
Ben Solo gets there with an old TIE fighter from the original trilogy.
That's right. Does he have like a blaster pistol as well?
Yeah, I think he does.
Yeah, but that's such a donut hole in the freaking movie, because those TIE fighters, I don't think they were able to go through light speed.
That's true, yeah.
And let alone, how would they still be functioning after being in the exploded Death Star?
That is very strange, yeah.
Maybe there's like one that's sealed off, but it gets you questioned, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's one of those things though where,
how convenient, you know?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just like
well, maybe it could have been convenient, say, if you flew in a First Order ship, because we stated earlier on that when Janna is introduced, she states, "Oh, there's a First Order ship crashed on the other side of the."
Yeah, but he showed up. He showed up with an Imperial TIE fighter.
Yeah, that is a question that does need to be answered. I think, well, you'd be very lucky if one survives and is still intact, unless they like fully maintained a few of them, like in a specific part of the Death Star.
It's like Death Star ruins in general, though, are kind of a bit of when the Death Star explodes in Return of the Jedi, there is nothing there, you know.
Yeah,
there's no way anything would remain. So it's one of those things like where it just kind of is. You can kind of extend your disbelief enough. The fact that the Death Star's still there, that there probably would be like maybe one TIE fighter. Just
like when we see it explode, when we see it explode in the Return of the Jedi, it explodes to smithereens. It's like same as in A New Hope. There's nothing.
We don't
see
like,
there's remains of it on the planet.
Yeah, we don't see like say shrapnel bits that are still in space. Which is, as you said, you play the Battlefront game, Battlefront 2, when you're playing on Starfighter Assault, when you play on Endor, you can see like. Is it parts of the Death Star you can see? I think it is, or it's part of an Imperial Star Destroyer, but there's a specific part on Starfighter Assault on Battlefront 2 where you are fighting through the debris of.
Was it in the story mode where?
Yeah, do you know like the end? Do you know when you're playing on Endor on Starfighter Assault?
I forgot about that. I haven't played it in a while. The ship stuff, but yeah, I think you do. Yes, maybe it does make sense. Maybe stuff just went everywhere, and you just don't kind of, maybe it was so small and far away that you just didn't kind of see it. So yeah, you can kind of extend your disbelief. It's kind
of like the scene in it, Revenge of the Sith, where we're still flying half a ship, and then half that ship goes, and then they're flying the other ship to Coruscant. But who knows? Maybe if they do a Q&A with, I don't know, just people style saying, "Oh, how can you explain this? Do this, do that," and everything. It could be explained down the line. Yeah, because
Capella Hidalgo can always kind of come up with some kind of like idea, like a reason for some of this stuff. There's always a bit of, you can always come up with something. If you give someone a bit of, there's always answers for stuff.
Yeah. Where there's answers, there should be questions. Yeah. Okay. Where was we?
Happy Dinosaur 8000 says, "Happy day to all."
Oh, happy day to all. Welcome to the stream. If you just joined us. Where were we? As I said, we see Ben Solo fighting the Knights of Ren, and then when Rey is about to obviously confront Palpatine, we obviously see obviously ignite a saber and obviously put it behind her back, and then all of a sudden it just goes from a different shot, and all of a sudden we see the lightsaber obviously taken from the back of Ben Solo. And one thing that did make me laugh watching it this morning, I did like the reaction of the Knights of Ren. They're like,
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Where the fuck's that come from?
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool. And it was pretty cool to see him cut up his old gang that he used to hang out with. And everything.
Yeah, we should talk about the Knights of Ren, I
I was
think.
going to say about the Knights of Ren. What's your opinions on them? Do you think they were obviously they were filled in, but we only saw obviously a shot of them in the Force Awakens.
Yeah.
And then we see a bit of them in the Rise of Skywalker, which is okay, but it's just not what people thought they would be, as you say, on the Death Troopers or the Sith Troopers.
I like them a lot. Like the designs, all of the individual designs are pretty cool. They're all, I swear, they're all abandoned concepts for Kylo Ren's helmet and stuff. So they're all like kind of yeah. But I think if they set them up throughout the trilogy, they would have been a lot cooler. But I again think about it to something like we go on about stuff like that, but then we also forget that in the prequel trilogy they had a similar thing where General Grievous just appears in Revenge of the Sith, Count Dooku just appears in Attack of the Clones without being set up. Right, it's kind of more a thing. They die quickly in the movie. They're not like something, you just don't, you forget that there are stuff like that in the other movies.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the original trilogy. Tarkin. It just appears randomly. Empire Strikes Back. I don't know. You know what I mean? Just certain characters in there. Boba Fett, yeah. Jabba the Hutt.
Because we only think about these characters because we've seen them marketed to us. They release like press shots and action figures and stuff. And you link it back to when Return of the Jedi came back out. All of those crazy aliens they showed for Jabba's palace, for all of the stuff like that. They're just cool designs that they kind of release as toys or release in marketing and stuff. But they don't have the biggest role of the movie. They're just kind of you forget that there is precedent for this for the other movies. But I do still think that some of the Knights of the Red stuff is that they all kind of just appear and just die like that. About little.
It's similar to like what they do in Game of Thrones. Introduce the character. Oh, he's cool. Yeah. I think the best one, I've just thought we've got the top of my head, the best one has got to be, is it Constable Zuvio, who literally never appeared in the film. And they released a Black Series figure of him and a 3 3/4 inch version of him. And I had no point because I thought, what the fuck is the point of picking a figure up where he doesn't even appear? Do you know the shot where Cardo kills someone, and I thought, well, that's Constable Zuvio, but it's something else. By the way, did you ever pick up that figure?
I've got the Black Series only because it was really, it was like reduced, really cheap. But I don't think I think it's a cool design. I think he's it's just a cool design to kind of alien tied to the shelf. So there's nothing, I think he was cut from the movie, wasn't he? Like there was a scene he was going to be.
I think he was cut from the scene where Rey's being confronted by the Unkar Plus thugs and everything. Like that. There's like another character that they used. I've got it on my shelf there. He's in red. What's his name?
I know what, the one with the mask and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, what's his name? I'll get it up.
Or something. Isn't there
a plank or something?
Yeah, like that. I think there's a book where he fights Luke with a Magna staff, like a one of the. He's in a book, I think.
Oh, is it? You said the Magna staff. Is it the one they use in Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah, I think like one of the Magna Guards. I can't think of the exact name of it. Like one of the.
What character are you talking about?
I think he's called Slarko Plank. He's like I think he's in the Force Awakens. He's like a
red. Force Awakens. He's like a red sort of character. Do you know, similar to Constable Zuvio, who didn't really appear.
Is he on Jakku or is he in Maz Kanata's castle?
I think he's on Jakku, I believe.
There's there's the other character as well that I actually really like. That he has a bit more of a role in the Force Awakens, and he's also in this movie as well. You know, I can't think of his name. Is it Sidon Athano or something? The red, like the pirate one, the crimson.
Oh yeah, with first mate Quiggold.
Yeah, him. He's a character that he's in this movie as always at the end. He has like a quick like blink and you'll miss it kind of cameo in the crowd. He's in Resistance.
He's Resistance. I didn't know that.
He's in like one episode of Resistance, I think, and he's got a book about. There's a book about him where he finds that the treasure of Count Dooku, and he's on as a member of his like pirate team. There's Kix, you know, the clone for the Clone Wars, the medic. He's part of the team because they find him like in I don't know what you call it, but like hibernation in the Count Dooku's shit. I don't know. I haven't read the book. I've just watched videos on it, but
yeah, I've seen stuff as well. They're saying that as well. That Kix was like one of the few clone troopers still out there. Alongside Captain Rex and everything. I mean, we're going to just quickly double check that character because obviously it will bug me before we move on. What's his name? I remember it because I've reviewed him. Where is he? Yeah, Sarko Plank.
Yeah,
Sarko Plank. That's him. Anything to add on the Knights of Ren, guys?
I think they were underused in this trilogy.
Yes, I think I would agree as well. They were underused.
They we'll come to it a bit later on when we talk about merchandise and stuff. I've got points about them to talk about later on, but yeah, are we going to talk about Ben as well in this scene?
Yeah, we're going to move on now. We're going to move on. As I stated, we see obviously Ben meets up with the Knights of Ren. We see him also take the Skywalker saber and eventually cut all the Knights of Ren up. We see Palpatine state that the Sith are reborn, the Jedi are dead. As I said, Rey gives the saber to Ben. Palpatine uses the Force on the pair of them, obviously to gain his strength. And obviously to try and find the best way to maneuver and obviously to find the best option to kill them. And then after that, we see Poe Dameron and obviously the other rebels fighting on Exegol, saying obviously they're taking heavy losses and everything. He says, "My friends, I'm sorry. I thought we had another shot, but it's just not enough." And the one thing I did really love about that scene, he states. Parisian states, he says, "There are more of us, Poe. There are more of us." And then we just see the shot change where obviously Poe moves his X-Wing and we just see this massive shot of all these sort of fighters, rebel ships, Republic ships that you just all crammed into the Exegol atmosphere. And you think, how the hell is this rebellion or the rebels or Republic, whatever you want to call them, have this huge, massive amounts of firepower and ships just appear. What did you think of that scene, guys? Because literally when I saw it, my jaw literally just dropped. Obviously, they had the original Star Wars theme playing in the background as well. What did you think?
I enjoy it a lot, but I have quite mixed feelings on it. Whereas I feel like it's one of those. We'll talk about it a bit when we come to the Jedi, but I feel like it's one of those things where they had so much potential. They did so much with it, but they could have just done just that tiny bit more and made it like that much more impactful. Because you get like there's like one cameo, with Wedge on the ship.
Wedge Antilles, yeah.
Yeah, that was cringy. That cameo. Last time, Lambo.
I just think they could have done so much more. They could have had so many characters kind of that we've met from the rest of the last trilogy, and like some characters from maybe, I think Hondo should have shown up because he's got a presence in that.
I mean, we saw 9-Num briefly, but we could see more shot of 9-Num, Hondo. Who else was out there? Trying to think of the.
I think like someone like Embo would have been really cool. Just some like really kind of like cameos, like the characters from Resistance.
Like I think Harrison Dilla.
Yeah.
Or maybe we could have seen. I don't know. Maybe seen a realistic version of probably Harrison Doodle or the Ghost Crew. Something like that. We'll just hear the voice over the radio. We'll see the voice actors. We know who they are.
Yeah. There's just I think there's a lot of characters they could have probably just put in that scene, and it would have they have precedent doing stuff like that as well.
Yeah, even a shot, because even if you see a shot, it just gives you that redemption, or I think, I remember that character, remember him from that film.
Yeah, you know, they could have done that literally. Captain Rex, you know, I don't know if he's still alive, but you know, that would have been like, imagine if you just saw like the Ghost with like live action versions of Hera and like Jason Segula.
Yeah.
Rex is there, but I don't know. Ken Rex probably wouldn't still be alive, but that would have just been, imagine seeing that. You know, like it would just been like such a, you know, like a nod to fans that are following all this media. You know, I know they probably don't want to cut ahead with stuff like that, but imagine the Mandalorian and like all this kind of stuff, all these characters just like there. You know, it's kind of, there's so much more they could have done with it. You know, I'm trying to think of some characters from the Clone Wars that probably would still be around, other than Embo. Hondo, some of the like Sabine, some of the Mandalorian characters as well. But yeah, I just think that scene could have been like even better than it is. You know, they could have even, you know, there's the battle droids that are still left over from the Clone Wars, you know, that you see in Rebels. You know,
maybe seeing a couple of Rebel soldiers fighting in old clone armor.
Yeah,
maybe just to rekindle all 9 films and just put them together.
Because that, we'll get to it a bit later, but like that's one of the things, like they promised that this film was going to be like the culmination of all 9 films. And it just doesn't
it doesn't feel like it. Yeah,
it doesn't feel like all they would have needed is a couple of those nods to the prequels and some of the original trilogy, because we're going to talk about it in depth. The Jedis, because I've got strong opinions towards that.
Or even seeing the Force. Do you know when Rey says, "I'm all a Jedi"? And when she does the crossplay, we just see, say, a minute shot of it when she's saying the voices. And it'd be similar to say something like they did in Avengers Endgame. Just see they just shoot to black, and all of a sudden we see this light blue appear. We see Anakin, Obi-Wan, Mace Windu, Yoda, and they just like put their hands and shoulders on each other, say, "We are the Jedi, we're one," and just push the Emperor back.
I think
something like that would have been cool. But as I said, we're literally.
If that happened, I think I would have a lot of opinion of this film.
Yes. I mean, it was good to. Obviously, I know we're skipping on a bit, but it was good to hear the voices of the Jedi. I think it'd be even better to say,
the voices was. I wasn't
like Hayden Christensen reprised as well. Ewan McGregor coming back, Liam Neeson, Samuel Jackson. You know, like Star Wars actors who were just like I said, just to put a hand on the shoulder and go, right, we're with you, right? That would be cool.
There are rumors that there was the Jedi fully robed up on set. I don't know how true that is. My brother was telling me about it. I've watched videos on it as well. Apparently there was film scenes filmed with Anakin, with like apparently even Mace Windu, but I don't know how true that is.
Oh, that sucks that we didn't get to see that if that's true.
I think there's rumors out there that some of these scenes from Anakin specifically were cut by Kathleen Kennedy, and there was
damn it.
I don't know how true this is, so I don't want to be like, but I've seen videos on it. Apparently filmed with Hayden, because they were building it up. He came to Celebration. They had some press shots of him at Galaxy's Edge. Like they were building it up that. They were going to do something with Anakin, and they just kind of haven't. And
damn it, Kathy.
Yeah, I feel like that is probably something to do with it. I don't want to speak like this is the truth because I don't know how true it is. I've just heard videos.
But it would have been cool if that was, say, the truth, or if there's any evidence out there to say that was there. That would have been really sick.
I just imagine how cool it would be. The voice is pretty cool as it is. You know, you could pretty much tell that there is, you know, you can tell it's Anakin, you can tell it's Mace Windu, you can tell it's Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, etc. But just to see those characters all there, you know, you could even just chuck in some even more cameos like Ki-Adi-Mundi and Plo Koon.
There was also,
as you said earlier on, maybe even a flashback of the characters, and you see like Rey, just see Anakin talking to Obi-Wan, and they're just nodding, and maybe they're fighting like that, and just
I think that definitely would have been like more impactful. Imagine if you the reason, I'll talk about what I wish could have happened with the fight with the Emperor in a second, but imagine if the reason why like Emperor lost his like kind of, I don't want to say like his kind of
groove,
because he saw a glance of like Luke and Anakin at the corner of his eye as he was fighting Rey. Imagine if he just saw them, and that's what kind of pushed him. They were pushed
Yeah.
it like back a bit.
I believe there was also the voices of Adigalia, Aayla Secura, Kanan Jarrus, and Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah, we're literally going to get onto that bit. I've actually got it there. We hear the voices and
Right.
everything. As I stated, let's just quickly mention it. Consciousness has rise. The Star Wars theme gives you goosebumps and everything. Lando's laugh until he disappears. Palpatine uses lightning to obviously stop the rebel attack. And as we said, and we just discussed, and we're obviously talking about it, we hear the Jedi voices. Obviously, Obi-Wan, he states, "These are your final steps. Rey, rise and take them." Anakin states, "Rey, bring back the balance as I did." Luminara states, the light, find the light, Rey." Yoda says, "Alone, never have you been." Qui-Gon states, "Every Jedi who ever lived lives in you now." Anakin states again, "The Force surrounds you, Rey." Ada Secura, "It guides you." Mace Windu, "Feel the Force, Rey, flowing through you, Rey." Anakin, "Let it lift you, Rey." Ali Galia, "Rise, Rey." Qui-Gon Jinn, "We stand behind you, Rey." Obi-Wan Yoda, "Rise." Ahsoka Tano says, "Rise in the Force, Rey." Kanan Jarrus states, "In the heart of the Jedi lies their strength." And then it ends with Luke, "Rey, may the Force be with you always." Obviously, we mentioned the other Jedi, Kanan Jarrus, Ahsoka, Anigalia. But yeah, it would have been nice to see other characters, as you said, Kieli Mundi, Poku, I don't know, Kit Fisto, Salsa Tin. I'm trying to think of other Jedi. I don't know, Evan Peel.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other Jedi off the top of my head.
Aayla Secura.
Obscura, obviously, it was in there. Quinlan Vosk.
Yeah.
Who else?
But even in the scene where you see them in the stars, imagine if you just saw their faces just kind of materialize slightly as they speak. Even that would have been cool enough for me. Even the scene we got still gives me goosebumps thinking about it, because it's a good scene. Like hearing those Jedi on screen, big screen again, was pretty cool. Because even I could tell, even I kind of had rumors that it was just voices, but before I saw it. But even then, I could tell that
first time round. It was great, yeah. And I think it kind of sort of rekindled stuff as well. Because obviously, with our generation, growing up with the prequel trilogies, I mean, I know each individual trilogy has gotten stick in a way, but the prequels, they're great. I know people say shit about and give them stick, but the prequel trilogy is great. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
I know there's aspects of Attack of the Clones being poor, some of the dialogue and some of the scripts, but you watch it, and there's obviously this massive Star Wars fan like we all are. The prequel trilogy for our generation is fantastic. It's brilliant.
I agree. Yeah,
the original trilogy, it's the same. It's good. The sequel trilogy, it is okay, but as we stated earlier on at the start of the stream, it's just left in a way where there could have been more. There could have been something there, and there could have been something added or taken away. But the prequel trilogy is great.
I'm going to talk about this a bit later, but it's one of those things like the original trilogy and prequel trilogy both have like their distinct fan base and stuff. But it is the same for the sequel trilogies. You know, there are gaps in the prequel trilogy, as I've mentioned, like that we just kind of forget about, because they could have, a lot of people could say the argument for ages they could have been better, but that trilogy resonates with us of this generation, particularly because it's what we knew in Star Wars, and that's like as much Star Wars to us as the original trilogy is, to people that grew up in the 70s or whatever. And yeah, I feel like this, as much as some of us aren't as keen on it as the other trilogies, this new trilogy will have an audience with younger kids growing up with it, especially sometimes newer fans that got into it. With like in the Disney parks, you've got the Galaxy's Edge. You see these fans of these people. I follow a lot of people from Disney parks that aren't maybe Star Wars fans for generations, but they're Star Wars fans that have gotten into it from them, and they love kind of Kylo Ren, they love Rey, and they love that kind of dynamic, and they love all these characters like equally as to we would like the prequel trilogy. It's one of those things where it has an audience, and we can't like discredit it, because people, it's what they enjoy as much, and it's one of those things where it kind of has an audience now because of what it's grown up with. Maybe we don't feel as strongly to it as they do, the same way as the people growing up with the original trilogy don't feel strongly towards the
Prequels and all that. But,
yeah,
yeah.
prequels. So it's no different. So it's I think there's having that understanding definitely helps. That maybe these films aren't perfect, maybe they aren't what we would have wanted, but they are enjoyable and they are something to other people as well.
Yeah.
It's not like
And that's the thing as well. You can't please everyone because, like, you look at it. Every film that has been released by Star Wars, every episode of Clone Wars, Rebels, solo films that they've done, you're going to get fans who are going to love it. You're going to get fans who dislike it, and then you're going to get fans who are either on the edge or just trying to find out. Right, I'll get into Star Wars. I'll maybe get into it here and there. You can't please everyone, but majority of fans, they love the franchise. They love this and everything, but sequel trilogy, the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy. You can't please everyone, but it's just different areas and different aspects of how you've grown up loving Star Wars, what's happened, how do you react to certain scenes, character development. I don't know, just stuff in general, really. Like I said, we have been blessed because obviously obviously the prequel trilogy was great. Like the era we've been blessed with is obviously the Clone Wars era. I mean,
exactly.
Force Unleashed being released games, Rebels and everything. But it has changed with Disney taking over. Fair enough, things do change. Same with Marvel. Before they made obviously the MCU timeline with Iron Man and everything, it was okay, but it's just changed that way. So you look at it, Marvel, DC, Star Wars, any sci-fi high profile brand has a different fan base and different things happening. Star Trek, Blade Runner, Lord of the Rings, Transformers, Terminator. It just depends really.
And no, just because you don't enjoy a particular part, your part you enjoy is still there. I can imagine there's a lot of people. I actually really enjoy, I enjoy the thought of thinking about Star Wars before the prequels, before there was anything else. I really love retro Star Wars stuff. Before there was, 3 films and there was, that was it. I love that, all that retro kind of stuff there before the expanded universe, before there was the Clone Wars, before there was, all this new stuff. It's nice to see something really retro Star Wars stuff. I really love that as much as I love, current Star Wars. And it's different. You can still enjoy certain things without hating or disliking what there is. You can gravitate. I love all the movies there are. I still enjoy the sequel trilogy. I don't dislike it. It's just not the one I gravitate towards. I always will gravitate towards the original trilogy and the Clone Wars era kind of stuff. That's what I gravitate towards. I still like these movies. There's still elements of them. I love Kylo Ren, but it's just not what I would always gravitate towards. But it's not bad or anything. It's just
there's no shame in saying it. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. It just ruins the aspect of Star Wars where people can be hatred on it. People can be racist towards actors and other directors and producers and stuff. That's just the negative side that make the franchise look bad. But in general, it's one of the most iconic and known franchises out there, and it's still making lots of money, even if the films are good, bad, flat, or not good enough. But it's Star Wars. Just be blessed, just be happy, because it's just such an iconic franchise.
That's the opinion I have. It's still another Star Wars movie I'm seeing in the cinema. It was as much as there was problems I had with it, I still enjoyed it. It's another Star Wars movie. You can't imagine what in 2006, 2005 after the original prequels ended, we didn't think we would ever see any more. It's another Star Wars movie you can enjoy. There's other elements to it. There's new toys to collect. There's new media to consume. It's something else that there is out there.
Alan, do you have anything to add on that?
I'm okay with not having any more movies for this franchise at this point. It's cool that they're keeping the franchise alive and whatnot, but again, there's other ways to keep the franchise alive. They've done it wonderfully with having a convention every year for it, and they've done it wonderfully with the Clone Wars, and they've done it wonderfully with the action figures and the Lego sets and the merchandise and everything. The movies, it would be cool to see movies that actually don't feel like they're out of place. Like, for example, Rogue One, I feel like that was like a perfect example of a movie that is that fits in, that was brilliantly executed, and
Oh, Rogue
yeah,
One's the best Star Wars film released by Disney so far.
yeah, absolutely,
That's
yeah.
no doubt.
I would love to see more movies. Yeah, I would love to see more movies exploring like other characters that we've been already introduced to, such as like the bounty hunters, like Cad Bane, or see a pirate movie with Hondo, or something about the characters that we've been introduced to that are interesting, that are fan favorites that we haven't had the chance to explore, like Asajj Ventress or Rex, etc.
Or even Ahsoka.
Or even Ahsoka, yeah.
Have you heard about the rumors for Ahsoka?
Yeah, I heard.
Mandalorian,
She was,
yeah,
I bet she's gonna show up. She's gonna meet the Mandalorian and the child. She's gonna take the child and call him after Yoda, and she's gonna call him Yoda Skywalker.
Yeah, Yoda Sky guy.
Yoda Skywalker, yeah.
You were saying, mate. You were saying.
Yeah, I just I don't need any more trilogies, honestly.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, just keep it how it is. Just leave it at that.
I really enjoy the spin-off movies though. Like I love, I don't. A lot of people talk about Solo, but I really enjoy Solo, and I enjoy Rogue One a lot. I think they're my two favorite ones out of the new films we've got, and I'd like to see more, because there's something so great about those movies. They're new stories, but then they're exploring characters and things we're familiar with. Like there's something so amazing I think about Solo is that they just so without much, not explaining or anything, but Darth Maul just shows up and it links in perfectly with the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
And then the recent episode we see into them all these crime syndicates to go into hiding. We see a brief shot of Dryden Voss. It's just like we know who he is. We know what's happening.
Yeah, I would have liked.
Dryden Voss.
I would have liked Solo more. I would have liked Solo more if it had characters that we're familiar with, other than introducing new characters that we don't care about.
True.
Yeah.
True. That was one of the things I was hoping into it. I was hoping we'd see Jabba. I was hoping we'd see Boba Fett.
Yeah.
I was hoping we'd see Greedo. But I've grown to really enjoy that movie. There's something like the way it looks. There's something. I love Han in it. Believe it or not, I think it's a great movie. I really enjoy it. And it's a shame it did not do badly, but it didn't seem like anyone really cared about it. That we probably won't see another continuation of that story. Maybe on Disney Plus we might get a series. Maybe they might pop to like the Cassian show. Maybe we'll get something in like the Mandalorian. I don't know, but I think it's great to see more of those kind of like the story of that character. I know that's not what we're talking about for this video, but I really enjoyed that era. I think it's about those movies with the Rogue One as well. It's just kind of set in that time frame we're really familiar with, seeing familiar characters, seeing familiar aliens, seeing familiar ships and stormtroopers and stuff. And it just feels like it came straight out of that time frame without too much, like saying, "Oh, look at this. This is whatever." It just kind of feels like it's there, and that's why I like those movies so much. And you never know it show up as well,
Well, Rogue One, you had the two guys from the cantina. You better watch yourself. R2 and 3PO turning up. About Organa mentioning about Leia, and obviously he served me during the Clone Wars. We know obviously it's Obi-Wan. So just little hints there that just get people ticking the old brain box, going, "Oh, we remember that from that Star Wars film, that scene, this, that." It just gets people ticking, which is good.
And they've got all those references to Rebels as well, which is something you never thought. I never thought a TV show that was on like Disney XD, Cartoon Network for the Clone Wars, would have an impact on like a film in that is quite baffling to me that they are so closely connected all this stuff that it kind of and I feel like it's going to be even more like that in the future.
Are we done talking about the Rise of Skywalker? Have we covered
we're nearly done. We're just gonna talk about the bit where obviously Palpatine uses the lightning on Rey. We're near towards the end and everything, but no, that was a good discussion there. We will continue it after we have covered it, but thanks for reminding me. But no, a very good discussion there from all three of us. So yeah, once we've heard all the voices with obviously the Jedi and everything, we see Palpatine use the lightning on Rey. Palpatine states that I am all the Sith and everything, and Rey states that I am all the Jedi and everything. Obviously, she uses two lightsabers, the Skywalker lightsaber and obviously Leia's lightsaber. Obviously, pushes Palpatine back and eventually obviously disintegrates him. But as we said earlier on,
that moment was such an endgame ripoff.
No. But as you stated earlier on, it would have been cool, especially for the Jedi point of view, to see maybe a hand on the shoulder which says, I am all the Jedi, and you just see hands on both shoulders. You see, I don't know, maybe a few characters. You could see maybe Anakin, Yoda, Luke, and Obi-Wan. Maybe just them four.
Yeah.
Like Yoda on top of, I don't know, Obi-Wan's shoulder or Luke's. Do you know, something like that?
Yeah, it would have been cool to see the Force Ghost.
Or similar to remember in season 2 of the Clone Wars where you see Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Mace Windu interrogating Cad Bane. You know, like, you will tell us where the thing on. And you'll tell us now, and they just use the Force or a lightsaber, and they go like.
Yeah, it would have been cool. It would have been cool to see the Jedi Force Ghosts interact in that scene.
Yeah, I think that's what, for me, if that happened in the movie, even just a cameo from Anakin.
Yeah,
would have made me like this movie a whole lot more. I think I'd have it up there with, you know, these other movies that I love.
But as I said, it is what it is. But it was good to hear the voices of the Jedi that we know through the TV show, Rebels, Clone Wars, and the original and the prequel trilogy. So as I said, she uses her two lightsabers. She pushes the Emperor back, and eventually also disintegrates him with the strength of the Jedi. The final order is falling. We eventually see Lando and Chewie save Finn and Janna from obviously destroying the Star Destroyer. And then once we've seen that, we see Rey fall obviously to the floor, and obviously she's dead. She's died. And then when we see Finn on the Falcon, you can obviously sense that Rey has died. Once that scene was done, we see Ben Solo climb back up into where Rey was. We see him climb up to see Rey, and he holds her in her arms. He then eventually uses the Force, obviously, to bring her back to life. They eventually kiss, and then obviously they have a brief moment for a bit, and then eventually Ben Solo obviously dies. Obviously, we know that he's tried to obviously redeem himself there. I've got a question mark at the bottom. Did you think it was appropriate to kill Kylo Ren off? Obviously, Ben Solo, or did you think it was best to kill Rey off or have the pair of them to survive or do something else? Do you think it was appropriate how Ben Solo met his maker?
I think it was. I think it was. It was fitting. I feel, because it was. It was kind of. It was kind of like, I guess, set up. It was set up in the movie that there's this ability to force heal, and Rey used it to heal Kylo from almost dying, and now he's been redeemed, and now that he sees her die, about to die, he returns the favor. And I think that was pretty cool. I think it would have been I don't see like any other version, any other like potential ending, like a different way of that conflict ending, because it would have been weird to have Rey die and him just surviving and like going out. Like I don't know what would he do if he survives. I don't know what he would do if he survives and she dies, and it would have also been weird, like if they both survive, like what happens next. I thought, and it makes sense that he transfers pretty much his life, because she was like an inch away from death, if not already dead. So he basically brought her back to life and just sacrificed his own for hers, So yeah, I think it was kind of fitting. Yeah, I think it was well.
Okay, mate. Lewis, do you have anything to add on that? Do you think it was fitting the way Kylo? I keep calling him Kylo. He's redeemed Ben Solo.
Yes.
In that.
I think it makes a lot of sense to him for him to kind of not yet sacrifice himself, but I think there's kind of it's a shame that they kind of took that easier route instead of seeing what it would be like. It wouldn't make much sense, but like it's similar to Darth Vader's sacrifice in Jedi, that we never got to see how he, how he paid for the repercussions of what he did. You know, it would be very hard for him to go back to the Resistance after what he's done to the galaxy for the last however so many years. And
because they're not going to go, no, there's Ben Solo. They're not going to welcome back with open arms because he's killed loads of our friends and everything. Yeah,
but yeah, we didn't mention all the Ben stuff, but from when he was Ben, from the scene he's introduced, the whole ouch on the chain and the him fighting the Knights of Ren, the shrug he gives, all
the
harms.
It's like he's got his dad in him still.
It's very good. It's all of that stuff. So yeah, it was a shame that we didn't get to see more of that Ben. He was introduced with all of that. It was all great, but it's a shame we never got.
Yeah, it was all pretty rushed. Yeah,
because everything we saw of Ben was amazing. It's a shame we didn't see any more of it. And I surprisingly don't hate the Reylo relationship that.
I don't hate it either. I think people have their opinion and they say what they want to say, but when you see all the funny pictures and the stuff and everything, it doesn't really bother me. It doesn't bother me. It's just you see him kiss and it's like, oh yeah, I've done it and everything. It just goes,
it's a shame.
It's like, okay, I'm gonna break you back to life. You brought me back to life. Now kiss.
Oh, isn't that lovely? Oh, he did.
And then he dies. Yeah, he drops dead.
Yeah. Okay, that was good to hear your opinion on that, guys. We'll move on. We see eventually Rey escape with Red 5. People are rising all over the galaxy when the war has ended. We see shots of Bestin, the planet Bestin. We see the planet Endor with Wicket, and I believe it's his son. Because when you see obviously Wicket there,
Wicket no different.
We see obviously Warwick Davis, who obviously played Wicket in the original trilogy. I believe that's actually his son.
Oh, really?
Playing a younger version. Yeah. There's a shot behind the scenes where you see obviously JJ obviously just directing the pair of them and everything, and you just see obviously Warwick's little boy and everything. So it's nice to see. Also, as I said, I've always said on this channel and everything, Star Wars is family and friends and everything. It's mainly family because it's just friends.
Yeah. There's an interesting comment from Glitched Perspective. He says,
a friend of mine, Jason.
Yeah, he says the mistake they made was not making the Reylo relationship more central to the narrative. It's
do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it's a good point, but at the same time, it would also feel a bit forced if they tried to make it more central to the narrative. Yeah, I guess they would have to find a way to make it work,
Yeah. Whether that be, I don't know, towards the end of the Last Jedi or after the scene in the Last Jedi, with obviously the throne room situation. It's kind of the questions of what if? Could they have done this? Could they have gone back? It really depends, really. As I said, we've seen good question, by the way, Jason. Thank you for commenting, and thank you to everyone else commenting. We will check them shortly. We also see Jakku. We see the rebels celebrate, obviously, in their rebel base. And we also see Maz Kanata give Chewie, I believe is it Harm's medal?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's a medal.
It's a medal. Yeah. Because I'm thinking, obviously, we know that obviously Han and Luke got one at the end.
I think it would make sense if it were Han's.
Yeah.
Because I think Chewie does get a medal in the comic books and stuff. He does actually get his medal.
Oh, does he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I think they probably, I think it's one of those things where JJ kind of probably didn't know about some of that stuff that's in canon and kind of just added it in as like a nod to the fact that he never got one in, the original Star Wars.
And it's a nice moment as well because you see Chewie's face light up to think, oh, I've actually got a medal. Because, like I say, people do care about Chewie, but it was always that question when it after episode 4, thinking, well, he ain't got a medal. He was with Han, he was in the cockpit, he was doing his bit, but it was a nice touch. Obviously JJ's obviously just seen stuff from canon and put it in there.
Yeah.
And then we're literally on to the very final part of the Skywalker trilogy. We see the Millennium Falcon. It obviously arrives. Before that, sorry, rushing a bit. As I said, we see Rey eventually come back, and it's one of the lines C-3PO says, "Did you hear that?" And obviously, as Star Wars fans know, that was C-3PO's first line. I believe it's the first ever line in the Star Wars, the original Star Wars film, wasn't it? Did you hear that? So it was nice to see. Did you hear that at the start of the New Hope? And obviously, Rise with the Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. As I said, it's the first time in the very first Star Wars film. We see Janna obviously sit down with Lando Calrissian, and I did say to myself and a couple of friends of mine in the cinema, thinking, well, I think that Janna could be, I don't know, maybe a long lost daughter of Lando Calrissian. What do you think of that, guys?
I think I always found that scene a little bit kind of
weird.
It's a bit weird, isn't it? It's not creepy.
It's a bit weird. It's not cringy or creepy. It's just
random.
Like,
It's random.
There's rumors that there's going to be a Lando series on Disney Plus, be it Billy D or Donald Glover. We don't know. Maybe both. That would be
maybe both. Maybe you could have Donald Glover at the start. That'd be good.
Yeah, be it. So we might see that kind of continued out. Because it would make sense, because Billy D's still here and his character's still alive. So we can see what's going on. Just that line always to me was like, oh, when I saw it first, I was like, yeah, that didn't really make much sense. Like, why did he say that? It sounded, it came off a bit kind of not creepy, but just kind of a bit I don't know how to describe it, but
maybe they could have introduced it. Maybe when they were talking just about the boredom of ship, are you related or where do you come from? Maybe something like that. Maybe a little bit earlier on, but
the way he's like, let's find out. It just kind of comes off and go.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There's a comment. I believe you said his name was Jason. He says, "How do you three feel about self-referential fan service in general, such as Chewie's medal?"
Would you like to start?
I think there's nothing inherently wrong with it, but they just need, as long as it's not overused.
Yeah, I think it's just mainly just filler, as we said earlier on about maybe going back to obviously what was used in canon and everything. Maybe it's just filler to say, right, maybe it's just like rekindle old Star Wars fans who obviously grew up watching the original trilogy and saying, right, we want this question answered, and now it's been answered, so it's been placed in this particular moment, in this particular scene in The Rise of Skywalker. But I don't know, I think it's fine. It's fine. I've no issues with that. What about you, Lewis? Anything to add there?
And when it comes, in unpopular opinion, or to most, I really enjoy fan service. I really enjoy when they do something not to appease fans. I think there's you can go too far. Elements I'm not a big fan of, especially in Rogue One when they do the R2 and 3PO stuff. I'm not a big fan of that. But fan service on the level seeing Wedge doing the Hera scene in Rogue One, or all that kind of stuff where they kind of, Darth Maul in Solo. I really enjoy that kind of stuff where they, and I think that's one thing I think there could have been more of. As I said earlier, there could have been more of in this movie where we have a couple more fan service in the Jedi scene or the scene where the ships come in. I think that's one thing it is lacking, is a bit of some of that fan service. We got some of it, but I think there's a lot. I really enjoy when they do something like that. But yeah, I don't see a problem with it, but it can go too far when it's just doing something for the sake of appeasing people.
Yeah. Okay. Well, even going back to say maybe what we discussed there, wasn't it? Was it the original script? Maybe say adding, I don't know, Coruscant to brief part, or
I agree.
Doing different parts there with different planets that we know, just to rekindle and bring people together. I don't know.
Yeah.
As I said, that question could be answered for another time, but I would like to see, well, the original script that was out there, the so-called Duel of the Fates for episode 9, would that have been made? Would that have been an easier bit for people's satisfaction? Who knows? But as I said, hopefully the answers and them questions will be revealed whenever that day comes, or if it is.
I wonder if there will be a cut of director's cut or something for this movie where they add in some of the scenes that are apparently cut and some of the stuff that was removed. I wonder if we'll see a director's cut or some deleted scenes or something, because I don't believe there are any deleted scenes or anything on the Blu-ray or anything. I haven't actually looked, but I don't believe there is. There seems to be a lack of deleted scenes for all of these new movies, believe it or not.
Well, I was watching all the Star Wars films a couple of weeks ago. I watched the films, and I was watching all the the extra documentaries on the 2 disc specials of the prequels, the original trilogy. I think maybe just aspects there, because it's nice to see deleted scenes. Like, I mean, for episode 3, for instance, the Senate, the debate there, the disguised clone troopers, the Jedi, just bits there that can do stuff. But then again, I think the documentary that I think they have released on the Skywalker trilogy, I think on the Blu-ray disc that has recently been released, maybe the answers could be on there.
Speaking of behind-the-scenes documentaries, they're going to do one for The Mandalorian on May the 4th on Disney+.
Oh, I saw that, on Disney+.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Definitely give that a watch. Where were we? We stated about obviously Janna and Lando Calrissian. We eventually see Rey, Finn, and Poe hug. Romance. And then we see
it felt like a Harry Potter ending scene.
Yeah. We see them all come together, all tears in their eyes, and obviously just grateful that obviously they have survived this final battle against Emperor Palpatine's final order and everything. And then it just eventually goes to black. And in the last ever scene we do see in this Skywalker trilogy, we see the return home to Tatooine. And as we know, that is the home planet of obviously where Luke Skywalker grew up. We see Rey visit Luke's home, where it all began all those years ago in 1977. We see obviously go down to the little part where she's obviously looking and obviously locating for different parts of obviously Luke's house where he grew up as a young kid. And she eventually buries Luke and Leia's sabers, which is a nice touch. What do we think of that final scene, guys? Obviously, Rey visiting Luke's home planet, Tatooine.
It was interesting, yeah. I liked at first I didn't really see the point of it, but like I guess the whole scene was like a love letter to George Lucas and the original Star Wars movie. And then like it's also kind of like a nod in the way that like when she buries the lightsabers, that's kind of a way of burying I guess the original movies or the original characters. And then she pulls out her own like her new lightsaber that she made.
I was actually going to come on to that. This next bit.
Yeah, she pulls out her own lightsaber to kind of symbolize that now she's her own character, I guess. I don't know, but then again, there's that stranger. I'm gonna let you go, like get to it.
Yeah, I will get to it in a minute. I just need to go to the toilet again. I'll come back. I'll answer a few more comments, and then we get on to literally the final part of the film. So, only again, it won't be a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Administrative use. Okay. Glitched Perspective says, I may have missed it if you've spoken about this already, but what do you think of Finn's secret? What do you think Finn's secret is? I was always under the impression that he was about to tell her that he has feelings for her.
Yeah, that's the way they kind of make it out to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
but then like somewhere it says that J.J. Abrams confirmed that he was going to tell her that he's force sensitive, which I don't see why. Like it doesn't make sense in my head.
Yeah, I guess they kind of allude to it throughout the film that he's kind of like, oh, the Force brought him here, or the Force brought him to be with Rey or whatever. They kind of do that scene as well when when Rey dies. You see Finn react to it, like how Leia or whatever did in the original trilogy. So you can see that he does have. That's, I guess, the payoff they give it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you kind of see that he does have that. Like force sensitivity, I guess that's what it is. But yeah,
but then there's never a payoff for that secret. He never reveals it in the movie.
Yeah, they don't do it.
That kind of sucks.
Yeah,
what have I missed?
We talked about Finn's secret that he wanted to tell Rey.
Oh, that Jason's just
that setup that was never paid off.
Yeah, it's just as we said earlier on in this stream about it's kind of like it's just upon us that he supposedly has full sensibility powers and everything. But yeah, it's a bit of a funny one. It's a pickle, that one.
I think if they were going to do it, they should have done it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Instead of hanging on the fence, just go out. Do it.
It's still one of those things in the movie that's just unanswered. Even though they kind of allude to it and they mention it in the book, it's just kind of not said about. They don't mention it again, and it's just kind of like why bother to begin with if you're not going to follow it through and kind of give it a bit of payoff?
Yeah.
Okay. As I said, and as Ellen said earlier, when we see Rey, she shows off her new lightsaber that is made out of obviously her staff that we see throughout the 3 Star Wars films. And I don't know if you lot have seen it as well, but there's a shot where when she ignites the saber, you can see different colours as well. You can see whether it's blue, green, and obviously, and what do you class a lightsaber? Is it yellow? Sort of a yellow colour, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like it's an orange to me.
Yeah, orange. Yeah, sort of orangey yellow. But it's good to see that when she can ignite a lightsaber, you can see different colours. I thought that was something different.
Yeah.
And as I said, it's made out of her staff she uses. And then we see that lady. She says, "There's been no one here for so long. Who are you?" And she goes, "Rey."
The fuck are you?
Yeah. Who are you, man? Who are you? He says, "I'm Rey." And then obviously there's a nice scene towards the very end, and obviously she turns and we see Luke and Leia as Force Ghost, which is a lovely touch. And she states, "I'm Rey Skywalker," and then we see the film end with obviously the twin sons. And then once that's done, the Rise of Skywalker and the Skywalker trilogy ends with a bang.
Yeah. I liked the I mean, at first I was kind of weirded out by the fact that she took the Skywalker name, but then I gave it a bit more thought, and it makes sense because she's a Palpatine, but she aspired kind of to, I mean, she the Skywalkers, as in Luke and Leia, they've been more like family to her than Palpatine. They brought in their Luke and Leia, they were like characters of good, and they died, and after they were the last of their families. And she instead of taking the name of Palpatine, of someone who was evil, she wants that name to be forgotten, but she wants to commemorate and have the Skywalker name still exist, people to still know the name of Skywalker. So she took it for herself, and I think that was a lovely touch.
Yeah. It's a lovely touch. And
what do you think?
Yeah, what did you think, Miss? I was gonna say that. What do you think, mate?
I still think we should. I like the ending a lot. I still think we should have seen Ben at the end as a Force Ghost as well. That would have been a bit. I don't know why they didn't do that. I think he should have been there.
Or maybe all the other Jedi. Maybe we could have seen Leia and Luke, which we did, or maybe we could have seen Anakin, Obi-Wan, Yoda, Mace Windu, Qui-Gon. Maybe see all the Jedi behind us and right, we're with you. if you need our guidance, just call us.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there could be. I mean, as you said, we know that Finn could be force sensitive, but is there any other Jedi out there who are still alive, or young kids coming through? Who
They
knows?
said that Ahsoka's still alive, isn't she? Apparently.
What even?
I don't think so,
towards
because
the events of
we heard her
Rise of
voice.
Skywalker.
I think he said something about how she's not dead, even though she calls out to her. I don't think she's dead. I don't know. I don't know if he was just saying that. But
That character does not want to die. He does it.
Yeah,
there's
she nearly died on Malachor and everything, and now she's back again.
so I don't know if there are other Jedi out there. Of course, there's a couple of characters.
I'm out here. Jedi Master 98. See if you need any help, mate. I'm here. I'm here.
Yeah.
Go on. Sorry, I had to put that in. Go on.
Okay, there's Ezra as well, isn't there? We don't know what happens to him. There's Cal.
Yeah. Oh, Ezra.
I don't
Cal
know what
Kestis.
you're talking about.
So yeah,
Oh yeah, Ezra.
but yeah.
Yeah, Cal. I don't know. Yeah, Cal Kestis. He could be out there. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, she needs her help. She knows where to find me. I'm on YouTube. Hello, Ray. So yeah, that is it. We just obviously discussed the events of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Let's check the comments. I'm just going to scroll up to the very top to see if there's any comments.
I think there was some about figures we missed on there.
Yeah.
Okay, right. We'll go and answer them. Where are they? There's also just a little bit of comments here into Happy Dinosaur 8000. That delicious. Beckett Tolerant states, do you think there will be Star Wars Clone Wars Season 7 figures?
Should we move on to the merchandise side of things and talk about that then? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just quickly answer these comments and then we'll go on to the merchandise. What do you think? Do you think there'll be Clone Wars figures made? I personally think there will be. Because
yeah, hopefully there
will. I hope they do it well, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope they do, but all we've seen so far was a couple crappy childish looking
yeah, them horrible figures that they've released of them.
Yeah, there's the Ahsoka, isn't there? And then there's the Ahsoka clone as well.
Yeah, that looked kind of weird.
It's terrible.
Not for me, at least.
Shame I don't know why they didn't coincide with the release of the Clone Wars. They didn't get I feel like it would have been a Black Series or Vintage Collection figure, but I don't know why they didn't do anything to go alongside it. Maybe they did, and whatever's going on kind of got in the way of that. Maybe, I don't know. I feel like they should have, after the Toy Fair reveals we got were very lackluster.
Yeah.
And I don't know why there was nothing to coincide with this release. It's a big kind of, thing. I don't know why there's no new figures to go with the Clone Wars.
Yeah, me neither.
So that
whether it happened, I hope so, because it would be fitting. I think I would love to own a couple of the specific the special regiment that Ahsoka was given and everything. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
and it would be a very easy figure to make as well.
It would be, yeah. Just a 501st outfit and just a little bit of paint job here and there. Simple. Just reading Alan's comments. I really hope so. We were shown so for the pretty crappy, childish looking Ahsoka and 501st Clone Trooper. Anna states love the old figures too, although a lot of them lacked a bit of in the articulation department. I'm looking forward to the red coloured Mandalorians.
If there will be any.
If there will be any, that would be cool. Obviously, Luke states, "What's up, Jack?" I don't know. Where are we? Jason's added a few more comments. Which respective? Where are we? What one have we answered? He states that agreed. Not a fan of being full sensitive. Not every special character in the Star Wars universe needs to be full sensitive. Agreed.
Yeah.
He mentions amateur filmmaking as well. Yeah. Maybe after the Leia Rogue One outrage, they were too scared to insert Sadek, and reckoned the fans wouldn't like an old Ewan until the Obi-Wan series. That's another topic to talk about. What do we think of that, guys? What Jason's just mentioned there about the Obi-Wan series, and obviously mentioned about Alec
They
Guinness and everything.
they could have just done like they could have just cast like Ewan McGregor like have him put some makeup on him and have him be old Ben. You know, that's
They
Yeah.
They could have even done
that would have worked.
thing where he flickers between the two.
Mhm.
You know what they could do with like they don't even have to like CGI him. They could use like I don't know if you've seen like, deep fakes.
Yeah, deep fake.
Mm.
Yeah,
I think that would have been because that's technically not CGI. You're still using reference from the actor, so it's not as disrespectful in my eyes. I don't see like you're still using pictures of stuff they exist. It's not like you're recreating their face and
yeah.
Was that a similar thing they did to Tarkin in Rogue One?
I think they fully CGI'd him from the ground up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deep fakes like where
Okay.
they get, I don't know if you've seen any of those George Lucas stuff they've done, like on
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah, they get like I don't know how they do it, but I think they get like a load of pictures references. There's a software they use, and it gets a load of like picture reference from all over the like the internet, and it kind of compiles them together to kind of on top of a mapped face, and I think it like kind of makes it look like they're there. It's very clever. I don't understand how they do it.
That's hilarious. Did you see his reaction to the Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah, the one where he's outside the.
Yeah, I'm protesting. So funny, so funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. So yeah, we've answered the questions. We're up to date there. Merchandise. You mentioned merchandise.
Yeah, I wanted to.
What would you like to talk about, guys? Merchandise wise.
I wanted to just to mention real quick. When I remember we talked about the climax scene with Kylo Ren and Rey and Palpatine, where Palpatine drains their essence and then throws Kylo Ren down a cliff, and then he climbs back up. There was this one comic book where Snoke kind of teaches Kylo how to survive a fall from a cliff, and how to force stop the fall or something like that, and then he comes back up. So that's how. So that explains how he survives in the Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, didn't know that. Thanks for the knowledge, Evan.
Anytime.
As I said, merchandise. What would you like to talk about merchandise? What's everyone got on their agenda for merchandise?
Basically, just it kind of relates to this movie as well. Just the general kind of it's the state of what we've got at the moment when it comes to Hasbro, Star Wars stuff, and it kind of relates to this movie. There is like no figures for this movie at all, really. When you think about it, like when you think
there's like a few.
Yeah, apart from the first wave.
There was like there was 4 figures, 3 figures.
I've actually got them. There was Poe Dameron,
It was basically a repaint.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was Poe Dameron, Rey, the Knight of Ren, the Sith Trooper. The Sith Jet Trooper and Zariah Bliss, and then later on we got the Sith Trooper. That's pretty much it in a minute. That's the state. Do you think of the merchandise as well that we got for the Force Awakens and the Last Jedi and the state of the Rise of Skywalker? It's been pretty cool. Go on, Lewis. Please go on. Please continue.
Right. So I think basically they've done so there's like how many Blackpool figures? There's not many. There's like they did Rey, they did Kylo, they did the Sith Troopers. They've come up with like there's Zuri Bliss, there's Janna. But they've done like they did that like I don't know the name of I think it's the Galaxy of Adventures line with that kind of 5-inch, 4-inch scale. Where they've replaced there's no basic 3.75-inch scale anymore. There's like for Solo they had the themed line of figures. For every single Alpha movie, Resistance they had a tiny like little 3.25-inch 5 POA designated weight. And now we haven't got that, and I don't know if it's because every single one of those waves really peg warmed. I think the state of like how, especially the Force Awakens, Rogue One as well. not. I don't know if Solo did as well, but these figures just peg warmed. People didn't particularly want them, and I think in order to avoid that, they just didn't do a standard release of 3/4 inch figures. It seems very weird that we've got Black Series. It's pretty much now the main form.
I think it's really keeping it going, isn't it?
Really, that is it.
Yeah.
And it seems to be the only line where we're getting all the new characters. 3/4 inch was originally, when Force Awakens Rogue One, they were getting everything out, even though the quality wasn't brilliant. They were still getting everything you could have wanted out, really. Same with
The Last Jedi.
Yeah, even up to The Last Jedi, even till Solo, the quality of them got better as well. They bare bones the line, so they didn't come with that crappy accessories and stuff. They were getting better. They just didn't. I don't know if they didn't sell.
All things considered.
Yeah.
Because there were 5 POA still.
And see, the 5 POA has a place, but I don't think they were cheap enough. And I just don't think. They also did that weird thing with. I know they did it with Rogue One. And I don't know. I think they did it with Last Jedi as well. But they had like a Solo, particularly. They had a last wave that just didn't get released.
The Solo wave. It took like a year to go to the UK. It was only getting stores. I don't know if it's to do with shipping or.
Yeah, we just kind of like
so poor.
They just didn't release. Like there was that wave. What was it? The wave of Rio and
Rio, Beckett, Val, and a couple of other characters.
Yeah,
like Luke Skywalker re-released, K2, Leia, Snoke.
Yeah,
Quaid, obviously. It's just so poor.
It just didn't. And then they had the Rogue One line of stuff. There was like Radis and Thrawn. I got both those figures, but those figures just didn't get released. They just kind of like filtered out. They got just like randomly dropped into like discount stores in America, I think. And like,
I mean, I was really struggling to find Thrawn, and I went in Forbidden Planet in Croydon. And I thought, Christ, there's only one left, and obviously it's because of his being random. I thought I just snatched it. I was thinking, I've never seen you in the wild. It's just so bizarre. It's like back in the day, one of the rare figures I got, I don't know, Commander Fox from the Clone Wars, his Phase 1 armor. I only remember seeing him once at retail, and I got it. He was so rare.
He was a Toys exclusive, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was really rare. I say like certain Clone Commandos as well. Like certain figures are just so rare, but these Solo line of figures are being over a year late. It was just ridiculous. But remember, we had the situations just after the Force Awakens with the Black Series 3 3/4 inch. Remember, I messaged you about Phasma, Han Solo.
Yes,
remember that?
They were Asda's rad.
That's right. Yeah, that was just delayed. I'm thinking.
I didn't get why they did that. They just kind of chucked out these kind of better than the 5 POA ones. They still weren't brilliant, but they just kind of chucked them out in Walmarts and Asda here like afterwards. And I don't get. They were impossible to find. You would go into an Asda and there'd be like one sitting on the pegs.
Yeah.
Miracle if you found.
Yeah. And they had the Black Series versions, which are excellent and everything. Yeah. But now, going in there now, the Star Wars stock is literally non-existent in certain stores.
I've moved, pretty much all my collecting has moved on to like retail sites because that's the only way I can secure stuff. Forbidden Planet's pretty good, but I can't rely on it because I have to just order from these websites now because there's no other way of really getting it. But
try Star Action Figures, mate. I don't know if you've been on there. They're on my somewhere.
I just ordered the I don't know if you see the new Black Series wave of Empire Strikes Back stuff. The 40th. Wave 2 of that with the I've got the probe droid coming as well. I've got I just ordered Luke with the new Hoth Luke, like with the pilot Luke, the Rebel Soldier, and I think it was the R2 as well, the dirty R2. I ordered those the other day. Yeah.
Lando Calrissian's part of that wave as well.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna. I don't know if I was gonna bother with him because he had. He's just the Phase Tech version of it. I had the original one, and I don't know if I could really need to upgrade. But I don't. I just don't know what to say. Black Series is better than it's ever been, but I wanted to bring on the topic of the Knights of Ren. I don't know what.
Go for it. I think it would be appropriate to release them because there's no point just having one night of anything. Sing them in the film, release them.
We when we were at Celebration, Jack, they said exactly what they literally said. We picked the coolest one of the designs and made it in each scale, and we're going to see how it does in the movie, and then maybe we'll make them. Well,
Oh, that's when we went to Comic-Con. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, watching that particular Hasbro convention thing. Yeah.
On my end, I haven't collected any of the action figures from the Rise of Skywalker, but after having seen the movie, I saw, how Coca-Cola has released some Coca-Cola cans with like pictures of the characters. Some of the characters, like I've collected like 5 of those because I had some of them. I work at a laser tag place, and we have a fridge with some drinks. And at one time they brought in the Star Wars cans, and I just took a bunch and decided to collect them. So I have right here. I have. This is. I don't know if you're able to see. This is Rey.
I can see it.
Yeah. Then here is the Sith Trooper.
Mm-hmm.
Then I also have Finn. Trying to get like a right angle so can kind of see him.
Yeah.
Then there's BB-8 and Dio together.
Oh, I think there's some posters that from Odeon that had similar artwork to that. I think I've got some.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah. And then the last one I got is Kylo Ren.
Oh yeah, look, I think it's exact artwork on this.
Yeah, it's the same.
Nice.
Yeah.
I never got the Dio and BB-8 one of those. So I was going to put them up, but I never got all of them. So there's no point.
But yeah, that's the only Rise of Skywalker merchandise I was able to collect, and I'm okay with it. The cans are still full. I haven't opened them. Yeah,
drink all of them at once.
they're still full of fluids. Yeah. Full of liquids, yeah.
As much as I like the Rise of Skywalker figures that have been released, it's just been so poor. Like certain stores in the UK, I mean, apart from Forbidden Planet, maybe occasionally a supermarket here and there, but it's just been so poor. Ever since Toys R Us has gone, especially the UK side of it, it's just gone downhill. It's terrible, sad.
The vintage collection is back. I've pretty much every single one of those. I haven't been collecting every single one, but every single one of those figures I've bought, the vintage collection, have been like top tier, great figures. Like the new Stormtrooper, the Shadow Trooper, Yak Face, the Crate Luke, Lando and Han from Solo. What else have I got? The Sith Trooper as well. The Sith Trooper is pretty good. All those figures have been great, but like the way the vintage collection feels now, it's not getting out figures that we want. It's just getting out figures that are necessary for now.
Yeah, I mean we've had one version of Luke Skywalker released from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
and they're releasing another one. I think it's not a fucking point. We've already got them. It's just bring out figures from, like I said, Rise of Skywalker, and just bring out figures that people want to do. Maybe do like what they do in the Black Series. Do a poll. Who do you want next?
Oh yeah, they did that, didn't they? Yeah.
Right.
That was rigged.
But it has been poor. It doesn't feel like, as people say before, the vintage collection how it used to be. You know, the ways and ways of things.
Yeah, because the original vintage collection, it was coming out at a time when there was no movies, so they were able to kind of deep dive and do update stuff that we had for ages, and they were able to get figures out people wanted from like over time. There was no movies coming out. You know, I know we had the Clone Wars. There were Old Republic stuff. They kind of put in some of that as it went on. But yeah, now it's got to that point where there's so much media that it's just very hard to catch up. And when there was a new movie every year for like the last 4 or 5 years, it's just very hard for toy companies to catch up with it. You know, like. You know, you got a new version, and you know, not only do you have to do a new version of Kylo, a new version of Rey for every single movie, you had to do all these new characters, all these new troopers that came out. You know, so much stuff. You know, last year when we got it was the year before that when Last Jedi came out in December, then Solo came out in like May. So there was like that. There was not much time gap to get all.
No, there's not much gap.
Time to get and then that leaves no time to get characters that we never got originally, you know. So there's no time to backtrack because they have to get out the characters that are still new, you know, because they haven't got figures of. You know, they're only just getting out a fully articulated K2S with the vintage collection, you know.
Yeah, and they've got a new version of obviously the Power Droid and Commander Wolf.
Oh yeah, that's
that
cool.
we've seen in the Black Series 3 and 3/4 that we got a few years back. So that looks cool. I mean, I don't need to pick it up because I've also got the Clone Wars version. So no point. But that looks pretty cool. The version they've done of him.
Yeah.
But it's just been disappointing. It's been disappointing.
The question about like the Clone Wars line, like we don't have that anymore. We don't have back when we'd have like the Saga collection or whatever, we'd have these solid lines that were just still getting out all the current characters, but then the vintage collection was could add like kind of these more premium figures that we needed. If we had a standard 3 3/4 Rise of Skywalker line, we would have had all these basic characters out, and we could have just added. You know, it's very strange that they don't even have a regular 5 POA line for Rise of Skywalker.
I'd be down if they released more of the realistic Clone Wars action figures.
A Darth Maul.
Yeah.
I think they could do with another Captain Rex, because have you got the vintage? There's the Black Series 3 3/4 Kylo Ren. Captain Rex. It's really crap.
Yeah. I don't have that one. It would be cool if they re-released it in the vintage card back, and it would also be cool to see like Savage Opress, Hondo, Cat Bane.
Yeah, definitely.
Darth Maul, like you said. Some of the
Pre-Vizsla, couple of Mandalorians.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Pre-Vizsla, the Saxon character, the Mandalorian, and Bo-Katan, the teen, etc.
Garth Saxon.
Yeah,
you could say other figures from Rebels, Fenrir.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Rebels 30 as well.
Yeah. They should do.
There's only a few Rebels figures that released. That line was literally hardly even processed. You've got the main characters, a few stormtroopers in there, but you've got nothing.
Yeah.
We never got the new versions of the characters as well. There's no new Ezra, no new Kanan in their updated outfits.
Yeah.
Who knows? They could do it down the line. You don't know.
Yeah.
I know they released Ezra and Kanan as part of the Black Series, but maybe they might do it for the vintage collection and Black Series again. We'll do new versions, one in full scale, one in the normal scale.
Yeah, because now they've got the Black Series stuff. I don't know how easy it is for them to do it, but I feel like they could just scale down the figures. Because like the Rey they did for Rise of Skywalker feels like it's the exact same figure, just smaller for the Black Series. You know, those two look pretty much identical. So I don't see, once you've done one, I don't see why they can't do the other. But as much as I love Black Series, and the reason I started collecting Black Series over 3 3/4 is because they just didn't have any attention for 3 3/4. There's no point in collecting something. Like for me, I wanted to upgrade to that because I could start again. You know, I could get all the new characters and stuff like that. It was just a fresh start for them.
Yeah.
Because the Black Series is very good now. Like they've caught up with
the technology they're using, the facial one.
But yeah, it's just a shame they did. The Rise of Skywalker just didn't get much attention with the toys, and I'm assuming it's because they just don't really sell. Star Wars toys aren't like what they used to be, and I think because of the new movies that they kind of watered it down. You know, the Force Awakens, they came full force with all this stuff. There was so much stuff. You know, every single character you could have wanted was in that 3 3/4 scale. You know, they they did it,
and you could get as well.
Yeah, and they did it to
they were pretty cheap back then.
Sorry,
they were pretty cheap back then. The Force Awakens characters.
Yeah, because when you think about,
they were 5 POA too.
Yeah, when you think about the vintage collection figures, what are they like? 13, 15 quid a piece for the
a little bit more, but the quality is still good.
The quality is up there. It's better than it ever was. You know, I just feel like they don't chuck in the accessories that the old vintage collection had. You know, they come with the bare necessity of accessories you could ask for. Whereas think about figures from the vintage collection like Wicket and Fordo, where they came with like separate outfits to turn them into different versions of the characters from, the Fordo had both phases for him to turn in from both seasons of the Clone Wars, and then the Wicket came with like another hood that you could turn him into like the season 2 appearance from the Ewoks cartoon, which is such a bizarre, weird, like deep dive accessory. But it's just that stuff like that is what make the vintage collection, in my opinion.
Makes it just that little bit there goes right. Oh, I like that. I'll get this, or I might get that. Yeah, it's just not the same as it used to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember the Saga Legends line. Remember, you used to get a clone troop, and you used to get that sort of like a white box, and they've all like guns in there, something like that. So if you're short on a couple of guns, we just open that little box and a sniper rifle or something like that.
They did the Sith Trooper where they added in. It was like a premium figure where they added in all the accessories, whereas they still had a standard release. I don't know why the standard release just didn't have all those accessories. It seemed like such a dumb. They did 2 releases of the one, but I don't know why they was exclusive to, but they did the exclusive version that was like had all the had the baton and the. I don't know why they did that. That should have just been in the regular release.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a shame because that's Star Wars. It is such an iconic franchise.
Then again, the Sith Trooper figure with the less accessories is, I guess, more convenient for army building.
True. Yeah, true. They did, but the thing is, I don't understand their release pattern with some of these figures. You've got the new, so it's not the newest wave now, but it was the wave that came out. It is the newest wave. The Black Series wave with Dooku. It was Dooku. It was Commander Bly, Zori Bliss,
Ren,
and then there was one, the Sith Jet Trooper. They did something really dumb with the case packaging of it. I think they double packed the character. They double packed Zuri Bliss, I think. So there was not that we ever really got. I don't think we got them on retail here, but like say on like Star Action Figures or on these websites to order from, you notice the only figure that would always be sold out from the batch was Dooku and Bly. Those prequel old characters.
Yeah,
they were the ones that were short packed in the wave, and Zuri Bliss, and I think maybe even the Knight of Ren might have been 2 per case, whereas they were like 1. I don't understand what that achieved, because obviously people don't want Zuri Bliss as much as they'd want Count Dooku, I understand that business practice personally. But yeah, it seems a dumb idea to me.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame, but hopefully they can get better. But I think with Toys R Us going back in 2018, it's not been the same for us Star Wars fans and collectors. It's just a piece of history's gone.
I don't know if you've ever been into Smiths. They've got like no Star Wars stuff, none,
right?
No stuff at all. Like
and they used to be good years ago.
They used to be right.
Good.
They did actually. I think back to when it was like first a thing, like the one in Mitch and all the stuff they used to have, all the Star Wars stuff they used to have in there. But yeah, there's nothing in there. They also got they got the exclusive Black Series in there as well. That was the only piece of Star Wars merchandise they had. Like they got the carbonized Sith Trooper, it's a carbonized Jet Trooper, like back in Friday time. But yeah, that was it. That's pretty been it. It's just weird.
Sad. Yeah, sad times. Sad times. Yeah, that's the way it goes, I'm afraid. It needs to be better. So Hasbro, if you're listening, listen to us. Listen to us.
They're so stretched with what they do, because if you've got 2 lines of Star Wars constantly going, as much as I love the Black Series, it's a very strange idea that they've got these 2 large scales of figures. Like I can't think of another company that has like a 6-inch scale line of characters and then a 3 3/4-inch scale as well. It seems such a strange idea. As much as I love the 6-inch scale, I don't really know why they decided to pursue it over the 3 3/4-inch, which the vintage collection was long cancelled at that time. They were what were they coming out with? Their crappy. They had some Clone Wars stuff after that, but it kind of died, and they got like with the. I'm trying to think what era it was. It was like maybe 2013.
I think it was a way. I think it was just a way to get like to kind of have merchandise for both children and more adult collectors. So like the 6-inch figures will the more adult collectors, and the 3-inch would be for the younger audience.
Yeah. But the thing is, I think the Black Series anyway is a lot more. It has a lot more of a wider reach to other collectors, whereas Star Wars has always been 3/4 inch ever since the 70s with Kenner. It's always been that scale. But not everything other lines are that scale. The collectors market, especially with Marvel Legends that are 6-inch, you know, other NECA figures that are 8-inch. It's just that is the scale for collectible figures, and I think they saw that market, because you can get 6-inch Black Series that I've got 6-inch Black Series that I can put alongside like Marvel Legends. So I'll try and grab one off. Like I could grab from off. Like they're in the same scale. Like they can produce all of the same scale. They've got their Overwatch stuff in the same scale. They've got their Power Rangers stuff. They've got Hasbro's kind of got G.I. Joe coming back as well. They've got all of that stuff in the 6-inch scale, and I think it kind of works for them now. I think that's just the evolution of the brand. And there was rumors, remember, if Hasbro losing the Star Wars license, which
I don't remember reading something like that.
I'm happier they still got the license than have lost it, because imagine they lost it and we just had a total reboot of everything, and they did similar to what they did with McFarlane and DC. We got like a bunch of kind of undesirable figures. I don't know. I'm glad they kept with Hasbro personally, because but it's a shame the 3/4 inch line has gone like non-existent, whereas Black Series, I think it's thriving. It was a bit in a shit patch after Rogue One and after last, but for Solo they kind of stepped up and did like every single character you could ever wanted to like a high quality, and but I'm going to stop rambling on about.
I think the vintage collection is also going to thrive someday.
Hopefully.
I hope so.
I just think
I love this
been
stuff.
waiting for the vintage collection to come back for years now.
People have been waiting for years and years.
As much as they've been waiting for
figures,
to come back, and now it's finally returned. So I think they just need to like do a bit more thinking and just come up with better figures to sell and I
agree.
Everything they've done in the vintage collection, other than I don't really agree with a lot of the repacks they've done. They've re-released some characters with face tech. I don't really agree with that. But every single figure they've released has been pretty top tier. I said like Yak Face was amazing. I don't know what ones you've kind of picked up, but some of those newer figures have been amazing. The Shadow Trooper, that brand new, the Rogue One Stormtrooper. That
Shadow Troop. That Shadow Troop is excellent. I need to. I do like the Shadow Trooper, but I've heard so many good vibes about that Rogue One Stormtrooper.
Yeah, you need to get that. That's probably the best, one of the best 3/4 inch figures.
I mean, I've got obviously the Rise of Skywalker figures. I've got I've got Luke Skywalker on the back of the crate. While you keep talking, I'll have a look, see what other ones I've got.
Sure.
What, Alan, what figures have you picked up for the new vintage collection since it rebooted or whatever?
Since they rebooted, I didn't pick up much because most of the characters they've released were like sequel trilogy characters that I wasn't really into, but I picked up the Shore Trooper from Rogue One. And I don't know if they at some point re-released the Gamorrean Guard.
They did.
So I picked that up. And now I'm the one that I'm really waiting for. I've pre-ordered the realistic Clone Wars versions of Anakin and Obi-Wan, but the one I'm really waiting for is Darth Revan.
Oh yeah, what happened with that? Because they said it was coming out, but I haven't heard anything more about it. It was a while ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was years ago. I'm still waiting for them to actually release it.
I don't know if they're re-released, because that figure was I don't know what collection it came out. Was it the 30th anniversary one originally?
I think it
I don't
might be
remember.
that one there.
Yeah, the 30th anniversary.
I've got the Mandalorian. Have you got the Mandalorian?
Mhm,
Yeah, he's
yeah.
got the Mandalorian and yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. I've got a few from Return of the Jedi and A New Hope, like the Luke
I
Skywalker
would,
and the
I would
Han
love to get.
Solo.
I would love to get the Mandalorian wave with.
He's so cool.
So
Yeah.
I've got him coming from where did I order it from? ID, I think.
Yeah,
Did
the
you get
Mandalorian.
as well?
No, the Stormtrooper's out of stock, so when he comes back in, I'm gonna I'm gonna order him. But this Mandalorian's so cool. Like I said, there's a couple of other ones that are good, Yak Face and all that lot, but the Mandalorian is one of my favourite ones at the minute, alongside with the Shadow Stormtrooper as well. Mando's so sick.
I've seen the Stormtrooper in stock on somewhere. I'll send
It's
you.
all right. I can wait for him, but I appreciate the gesture, mate. Cheers.
I feel like I've seen him somewhere because I was considering because there's the clone as well. I haven't actually got
The Clone Trooper looks good. I think I'm going to get another version of him because the one I've got from the Saga Legends line, he's all right, but you know he starts to go yellow with the sun's.
Oh
been in.
yeah.
So I might get maybe 2 or 1 version of him.
I'm not
Really?
a huge fan of the clone body they've got. I really like them to rework.
Yeah,
it.
sort of like the flat chest. Whereas you look at the ones from Revenge of the Sith. Let me just compare them as well. while I'm here.
I've got the vintage collection 501st. And I wish they'd update that sculpt. I'm not going to grab it.
They should bring them back, the 501st Clone Troopers in Vintage Collection.
Yeah, I'd hope with a new sculpt because I really don't like the Black Series. Oh no, sorry, the Vintage Collection. I don't know where it originated from, but there's a couple of. I've got the Shock Trooper and the 501st, and they just kind of the articulation on them, and the scaling on the anatomy just doesn't look right. I think the head's big because the helmet comes off, and like it just feels a bit. Never enjoyed the hands work.
Clone bodies up and down, really. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, the normal Clone Trooper, like I said, you've got the clone body for this one. I mean, the Clone Trooper Sergeant from Attack of the Clones. I mean, the body, it just sticks so flat. It doesn't really.
Is that the vintage one?
No, that's the Black Series one, would you believe?
Oh yeah, it's the same body, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, the Black Series.
Yeah, no,
whereas you look at whereas you look at an older version of it. I mean, this one is Appo, Commander Appo from Revenge of the Sith. I mean,
yeah,
the body there is just so much better that you can move it. There's a bit of movement there, whereas the articulation in the torso here, it's stiff. It seems like the rocker joint in here is just like nothing's happening. Whereas this one is miles better. I
think that's the same body as the ones I've got. The two. I've got the 501st. I've got the Shock Trooper, and I think I've got the I don't know the battalion, but the landing pad one, the grey one.
Oh, the
I've got those.
The 41st Elite Corps.
Yeah, whatever.
That's who they are. Well, the Vintage Collection released a version of that 41st Elite Troop.
Yeah, they redid it.
They redone it, didn't they? It's like the Black Series. They made a mistake on the was it the battle damage? They didn't put battle damage on him, did they?
Who? What
the 41st Clone Trooper Elite Corps? Remember, they just released him plain, and they wanted him with battle damage.
3 times, and every single time they got him wrong. And I think even the new release might have got something wrong. I can't remember, but I've watched a video. I think JCC said about it, but there's, they got him wrong every single time. They paid him somewhere on it, but yeah. I don't know if you've got any of the 3 3/4-inch Black Series clone commanders. They've got.
I've got Thorn and Doom.
They're garbage.
Yeah, they're not spectacular. I've seen versions. They released versions of Rex and Wolf, didn't they? If I remember.
I've got Rex. I'll just look at. I've got Rex, Thorn, and I think there's Doom as well.
Doom, yeah. I've got Doom, Thorn.
Trash.
Mm.
And then there's the. I've got the because I picked these all up in Entertainer when they went on. Like for £5.
Discount, yeah.
There's the ice, like the Hoth, not the Hoth, but like the snow planet. Wolf from the Clone Wars as well, like from the season 6. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add about merchandise or Rise of Skywalker? Or
I haven't got anything else to say. I feel like I've spoke about it. I think I've rambled on about it enough.
Yeah, same.
Fine. What about you, Alan? Yeah, same.
Same, yeah. There's just a couple of comments from Luke. He says, "What do you guys think about the life support machine for Palpatine?"
Who would like to go? Alan, would you like to go first?
Yeah, it was. I didn't really think much of it, to be honest. It was there, and that's it. Like, I guess he needed it, you know, because
He needed
his
it. He's got to
his
survive.
body was fully functioning, and so he just needed life support, and makes sense to have it, I guess.
I'm not gonna. I can answer the last question, but we'll leave it at that. It's not crap. It's luxury. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. If you can read the comments, everyone.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's only jokes. Joke.
What's all that crap on your wall?
Yeah, it's not crap. It's fucking luxury, mate. Luxury. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Star Wars Conversations live stream on Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Nothing else to add, guys, before we call it a day?
No, I haven't got anything else to.
No, nothing else. Okay. Well, I hope everyone has enjoyed this stream. Obviously, it's the first time doing the live stream. That's going to be staying on my channel.
17 minutes.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Good fun. But yeah, as I say, it's the first time I've done a live stream and obviously saving it on my channel by StreamYard. And it seems to be going all right so far. Obviously, Google Hangouts was with us, but it's not with us anymore. So yeah, I'd like to say thank you very much to everyone watching the live stream. Thank you very much to my guests, as always, for coming in and enjoying the Star Wars fun and everything. Obviously, Alan and Louis and everything. And yeah, before we call it a good day, guys, where can people find you on YouTube and social media?
You go first, Louis.
Okay, I have an Instagram at legend. I think it's _ _of_Louis.
Yeah, I'll be sure to put all the stuff in.
Okay, yeah. I post mainly artwork I do on there, as well as the occasional like figure. I haven't done it in a while. I used to do a lot of figure photography, but every now and then I do it. I'm mainly more active in my stories mainly because I post a lot of opinions and stuff on there. But yeah, it's mainly artwork. Quite a lot of Star Wars artwork on there. But yeah, stuff like that. But that's where you can find me.
Right. You can find me on YouTube as Oak99, where I do. The main thing you'll see on that channel is Lego stop motion videos, and I also have an Instagram account, Instagram page. You can find me at Darth Akoko 9099, or if you just search Oak99, you'll find it. I'm sure. I'm also on Twitter, same as in my Instagram. If you look up Oak99 or Darth Akoko 9099, you'll find it. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, it was a fun little stream here. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Drew.
Where can people find you, Jack?
You can find me also on YouTube, Jedi Master 98. You can find me on Instagram, obviously with my name. You can see it all on the channel art section above my channel. Facebook, Jedi Master 98 as well. And if you enjoy live streams, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. And if you're interested in the guys' channels and social media accounts, please follow them. So thank you very much for watching. I don't know when the next live stream will be, but hopefully it will be whenever the near future is. And thank you very much for joining. And I hope you've enjoyed the Skywalker saga and this live streams that we've done in the past. There's many Star Wars films that have graced and filled us with joy and love throughout these years. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. Stay safe, look after yourself, and as always, may the Force be with you.
Cheers.